If you've ever turned off a baseball game for your favorite team during a rain delay when they were losing, thought to yourself, man, this is over. And then found out the next day that they came back and won after you turned it off. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. It is Wednesday. It is hump day, the turn, all of those things. Got a lot moving here. We're going to break it down. We got Tim Melvin coming in here today. Going to have a lot of fun. Got my main man 13 in the back. Let's go ahead and get it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Live Trading. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces out there. Good morning to everybody out there. STFU, Chris, Market Sniper, Jonathan, Robert, the other Jonathan, the other Robert, Tom, Marty, Eva, Daniel, Glenn, and everyone else that's joining us here today. Hope that you all had a great evening. We are back to break down some more trading here today. Let me bring on my main man, 13, who you know is diligently taking notes, getting prepared for the session here today so that we can all make a little bit more money. 13, how are you doing here today?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. Just trying to get a lock on this XTIA that just started moving. We'll get into that, though, but I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys? How about everybody doing?
What's that? What was
How's
last
everybody
week?
doing?
Well, I can only speak for myself. I am doing well. But it looks like based on what a lot of the people in the chat here that they're doing well also. And yeah, that XTIA popping, literally dropping a PR right as we started here. We'll go ahead and cover that. We do have a number of different movers here today, so giddy up. I'm going to start with the SPY here first. Looking here at the SPY, and we are trading up in the pre-market, so strong here. If we zoom in, you can actually see what's going on. So it looks like we traded up yesterday. Didn't really have a whole lot going on. Had kind of an inside day yesterday. Now today in the pre-market, we're trading up towards that 530 level. Remember that all-time high, I believe, is 533 and change. Let me get that number for you. 533.07. So we're, about 3 points away from those all-time highs. But the good news here, at least for trading, is that we've really kind of broken out of this inside formation that we were in. Yesterday's candle being inside. We'll see where we end up going here today. 13, you have any targets here on the SPY or any key levels that the group should be aware of?
We talked about 530 in happy hour yesterday because we weren't there quite yet, but I was saying that 530, based on the price action we had today, it looks like we're headed towards there. Now we're over it in pre-market. We're almost to 531. We had another previous all-time high before the one we got back in late May of 533.07, and that was 531.56. So I think 531.56 might be a resistance level. If you look at the price action intraday, I'm sorry, not intraday, just on the daily chart, you can see that we had multiple visits up at that level and rejected before we finally got through and went up to 533.07. So I'll be looking at 531.56, or we can flatten it out and make it 531.50. But if that, I would also be looking at 530 to hold. So pretty much those are the two levels that I have at the moment. I'm not exactly sure where we'll end up, though.
Okay. Okay. Really good stuff there. We'll see where we go here on the SPY. I'm going to be watching it, although don't really have a whole lot of plays tied directly to it. Obviously, still in that chewy swing. Perhaps that trades in the same direction as the SPY. We shall see. A couple of things that I wanted to clean up here real quick. Lynn, first of all, good morning, Lynn and Randy.
Hey.
Be back with you next week. Randy on the mend. Yeah, long time. I haven't seen you folks in a long time. Hope everything is going well. Hope you guys are feeling well. Glad to hear Randy is on the mend. Lynn, the one thing I got to say is this break in the Stanley Cup final, this is absolutely killing me. Like every night, I mean, I'm reading, I'm doing other things, I'm exercising the mind and all of that, but I could really go for some Stanley Cup hockey again. And it needs to come back as soon as possible. Glad to hear you, or glad to see you. Glad to hear Randy is on the mend. Jay Rice mentioning, hey, Boot, hey, Ryan, remember the short report from Spruce Point on May 8th? It's up 30%. Thank you. These guys are almost always wrong. Indeed, I do remember that. We actually talked about this on Happy Hour. We talked about this being a potential move, not one that I played. I'm going to be honest with you, though, Jay. I think you're onto something here. And some of these short reports, I might have to be a little bit more active in this. Now, what's disappointing about Boot Barn is, first of all, we covered this as a group. And on top of that, I'm actually familiar with the company. I recently placed an order here, and everything seems great. The one big worry here is that these are big warehouses with a lot of overhead. Obviously, that seemed to not matter here. We'll start the day off with a register ring for you, Jay. I know that you were talking about that from the beginning, so really good trade there. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into, actually, options traders. Do you cover Lulu earnings today? We take a look at Lulu all of the time. The earnings are scheduled for after market, so this show will not be on when that comes out. I suspect, options trading ideas, that this is probably going to be one of the stocks that we talk about tomorrow morning, because I suspect there's going to be a notable move in either direction with the earnings sprint here tonight. So I don't have a position on this. I'm not necessarily predicting which way this is going to go. But by the way, if this has a good report, I could easily see this filling the gap to the upside. Don't forget, we had Anne-Marie on yesterday. She put on a butterfly trade for Lulu. So if you need that, I can always look up the different legs of that. That's about it.
My thought on Lulu, because I've been looking at this one for some time, since it's had quite a sizable drop into these earnings. Mm-hmm. I've talked about how the apparel segment of the CPI report has been showing a rise in apparel prices. So my thought with this is that, okay, well, maybe they're not going to report the most stellar first quarter, but I think their guidance on Q2 is going to be interesting. And so far, with some of the retailers, the apparel retailers that have been reporting, their Q2 has been guiding higher. So I think there might be something to look forward to with Lulu and a lot of these other apparel retailers seeing a rise in margins as a result of the increased apparel prices. I think that what could be happening here. So that's going to be one of the things I'm going to be watching for with Lulu, is how they guide their Q2.
Okay. STFU joining the BuzzFeed crowd here and manipulating reality and then spreading fake rumors. STFU, I'm disappointed to see this out of you, actually. I did admit to wearing Lulu pants on the airplane, but they are traditional pants. They are not yoga pants. In fact, I don't even own those. So going to need you to tighten this one up a little bit, my man.
Yeah, okay. We all knew that anyway.
Let's go. I was going to say, let's go ahead and check out some of those morning movers. There is quite a bit here on deck, and some real big stuff. Now we're going to go in order here of the movers list. We're going to start with ASNS, and this one easily the biggest mover of the morning here, up 761% currently. Was up over 1,200% at the highs here. This is Actelis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Actelis Networks, ticker ASNS, Alpha Sierra November Sierra. Actelis Network shares are trading higher after the company announced orders for cyber-hardened networking technology to be deployed at 3 U.S. military bases. Okay, so right there on the surface seems like a really good PR. Seems like a really kind of a good thing here. But again, this stock has gone up a tremendous amount. This stock was 40 cents yesterday and now printing in the 4 handle here today. Okay. So I like I said, this really does seem like a really good PR. 13. I know we were talking about this a little bit. It seems like a lot of money that they're going to be getting, and it's a government contract, which are generally viewed as really, really bullish. My big question here is, first of all, I have a very tough time buying stocks that are up 800%. The one thing that I need to make abundantly clear as we talk about this here today is that if I trade this, and 13, I think I'm speaking for you as well. If either of us trade this, there is a 100% chance that the trade is closed before the end of the day. Is that correct, 13? I don't want to.
I have no plans to hold this.
I have no plans to hold this. So I'm the same way here. I really do want to stress, be careful with this. This is a pretty good PR. What do you think here? Did you go through the PR yet, 13? What do you think about this?
I read a little bit through it. I am trying to, see if I can lock down a valuation on this contract. But it says that they're supplying 3 military bases. I'm not exactly sure what cyber hardened means, but I believe that might have to do with some kind of cybersecurity aspect of their networking technology. Maybe some IT folks in the chat could help me out with what cyber hardened is. But if I think there was a number that you had mentioned earlier about the contract being upwards of $1 billion, something to that effect.
Yeah, so it was, let's see. No, I think, was that the other one? There's another one that we have here that was moving where we actually have some terms disclosed on that contract. Yeah, see, because even it was another one. This is one of the issues with going through multiple ones. There's another post here in Pro. So first of all, maybe I wasn't clear enough on this. This PR came out yesterday evening after the market closed, which is one of the reasons we saw the after hours move. They received order to supply 3 military bases, no financial terms disclosed. Now, WIS is mentioning here, this is kind of my trepidation about the whole thing. No financials attached to the PR is always sketch. There was a number of years ago, there was a long, big investment that I made. And every time this company sent PRs, they included no numbers at all in their PRs. And it became so frustrating that one of the years I named my fantasy football team numbers in PRs.
That's right.
Because I was just so upset with this company clearly not, intentionally not putting numbers into their PRs, and it ended up being fraud. It was no good. It was no good any way that you slice it. So I'm a little personally kind of put off by that. But the fact that this is a military contract, 3 military bases, I mean, it does read well here. I'm just a little bit weary of that. So just keep that in mind. That's what's going on here.
It does have a 3.13 million share float, so we could see some more volatility throughout the day. It did do a 1-for-10 reverse split in April on the 19th. Other than that, just don't have really any figures on how far this could go because we don't have any financial terms disclosed.
Yeah. So there we go. Okay. Jay saying regarding ASNS, useless to look at fundamentals of any of these names like GME, AMC, FFI. It's just Momo. That is exactly what we're trying to convey here, and that is exactly why none of this can be something that is talked about or held as an investment or anything like that.
Just an average middle-aged mom. Military funding has a history of hiding numbers. That's true unless it's like Lockheed Martin or Boeing or some of these really huge players. They tend to just proudly say how much they're spending on that. That's what I've noticed. But I think you're right. They have hidden some of the numbers from the smaller companies like this one.
Yeah, indeed. DJF say cyber hardening is software and labor intensive, basically bulletproofing servers and other hardware, FYI. So the kind of general term there, getting a little bit more context as to what that means. Regardless, we're sitting right here at VWAP. We're kind of getting this flag here in the pre-market. I'll be interested to see what happens if this moves. We'll see if this breaks down or breaks up. Next here, it's going to be XTIA. Okay. And this is the one that really started to go right as the show started here. All right. So XTIA, this stock again was a penny stock yesterday. The stock popped as high as $3, actually went over $3. We've come back in here. We seem to be settling around the VWAP. If we take a look at the news here on this one, XTI Aerospace, XTI Aerospace signs letter of intent. This is from yesterday. Gosh, that screwed me up. XTI Aerospace announces Mesa Airlines investment in XTI and conditional pre-order for 100 Trifan 600 aircraft. Now, the reason that I wanted to highlight this, that's the PR came out right at 9 o'clock. 2 minutes later, not even 2 minutes later, our news desk team had actually gone through that. This one, it says, if all conditions are met and orders are fully exercised, this could represent up to $1 billion in revenue for XTI Aerospace. So here's the difference. This one, at least giving you some type of numbers to figure out. Now, remember, this is not You don't just get the whole billion. There's, if all orders are met and fully exercised, there's obviously still a question about that, but this at least giving you a little bit more information about that. Stock's up 131% here. This is also a Momo name. Looks like this is ready to trade here today.
Yeah, just on that new purchase order, and they've got a 7.64 million share float. Another one that's going to move around quite a bit today, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right there. So, all right, this one also on the list here. Next is going to be MITQ. Now, I'm pretty sure that there were a number of traders in this room yesterday talking about MITQ. Some of you might have even traded it. Now, of course, with all of these little stocks that we're talking about, this is not something I would ever hold overnight. But if any of you did, you are probably having a really nice morning here today. This thing's traded up towards $1.60 and kind of reversed there. We're VWAPs at 135. We're holding this kind of 120 area. I really wouldn't want to see it break down from here. MITQ, pretty good action here. Moving image technology shares are trading higher after the company was awarded a multi-million-dollar contract. I didn't see anything else coming out from our news desk here. If we look into this, looks like there's not a whole lot of financial terms being disclosed here, but it does give you some highlights about that. So what do you have here on MITQ, 13?
Yeah, the multi-million-dollar contracts for a Alamo Draft House Cinema in Indianapolis. They have a 6.82 million share float. No reverse splits that I could find. No high short interest, really. So with this one, I think I'm really not 100% sure, because we've already talked about how it doesn't seem like a lot of people are really going to the movies a whole lot anymore. The thing about Alamo Draft House is that they serve you your dinner and they serve alcohol while you're watching the movie. So they have a bit of an angle there. But I if there's a trade that sets up, go for it. But right now, to me, it looks like it's kind of putting in a bit of a head and shoulders in pre-market trading. So I'm not sure that there's a whole lot here to be had. But if it sets up, by all means, trade it. I just don't think that we're really going to see a whole lot out of this one.
Yeah, the thing that jumps off the page here for me about this one is when we were talking about movie theaters before, one of the things that we had discussed here as a group, it seemed that the group was more into experiences, right? Like we talked about, there were a couple of people out here that said, yeah, if I can lay down, or if I can eat, or if my experience is different, I like that a little bit more. It seems like this is what it's going for here. There's a lot of talk about, more investment, 4K laser projection, the whole 9 yards here. I'm with you, 13. I don't know if this is actually going to move the needle. At least in my own personal, desire to go to a theater or desire to go to a place to watch movies. This doesn't do it for me. I'm not interested. I'm more interested in seeing if we could trade the stock for some profit, maybe upgrade my home theater. Forget going to one, despite the advancement here. But anyway, that's what's going on here with MITQ. Stocks up 77%. Again, I did notice that there were several people yesterday mentioning this. If you guys are trading this from yesterday, giddy up. That's really, really good stuff. Next here is going to be MFI. Okay, this is ticker MFI. I don't really see any news on this. If this is from late May. Well, this is from May 31st. This is from Friday.
Oh, so then that would be the only other.
So I think you're just this is just kind of a momentum pop here. This just kind of popped up to 350, came all the way back down. Looks like we're trying to hold 2, VWAP at 267. As far as a trade goes here, if we can hold 2, that would be good. There's a little bit of a range there up to the VWAP, so maybe we can get that kind of trade in there as a morning scalp here. I'd be a little bit more careful on this one. This is also a Hong Kong, this is a Chinese related stock here as well.
And you were right. It is a Forex bullion brokerage solution. I don't exactly know if that's going to really work well in China, seeing as how their market is taking a nosedive. So, this is just, like you said, it's moving on Momo. Just be careful with this one. This is not another one where I would be comfortable holding it at all.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. This one's a total pass here. Okay, next here is going to be SYTA. Sayata Mobile shares are trading higher after the company announced a new partnership with JD Telecom. The stock popped as high as 260, has come back in. We actually just lost 2 there. VWAP at 215. We'll see if this can kind of recover here, maybe build and go through the VWAP. SYTA, you got anything on this one?
No, I didn't cover this one, no. But it looks that formation there looks pretty good. So let me take a look at that chart. That's it. SYTA, you said. So I'll tell you where I think you might get an opportunity here, so I can get to my 5-minute chart. So it looks like if it can hold that 190 level there, which we've already got some. It was previously resistance when it was breaking out, and now it's acting as support. So I think 190 would be the level that I'd want to see hold up for more upside. If we start breaking down beneath 190, then maybe it's time to move on to something else.
Okay. Next here we have WKME. This is WalkMe. Let's hold all the jokes here. This is just being acquired, so I don't really think there's anything going on here, but that's why this is up here today. Next one here is going to be CCM. This, to me, this price action, no bueno. Don't like seeing this at all. This pop pretty much gave everything back here, flagging here in the pre-market. I don't think so. I'm probably going to stay away from this one entirely. Don't really see anything going on here. This is gapping. It is up 30-some%. Seems a little bit risky to me. We got a whole bunch of other targets in here. Okay. I'm assuming you didn't cover this one either.
No.
Yeah. All right. Next here, couple of real stocks here. HPE. This is one that we took a look at in the happy hour session yesterday. HPE. This is Hewlett Packard. This is their enterprise division. This is not the retail-facing division. They reported earnings here. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise shares trading higher following better-than-expected Q1 financial results. The formation here in the after-hours and the pre-market actually looks pretty good. This looks like this might want to go and try 21. We'll see if we get that, if we can trade above it. Came from about 1770-ish, so pretty nice move here, up almost 16% here in the pre-market. Ticker HPE. You got anything on this one?
Oh, no, we all know why it's moving up. I would just wait for some trades to show up and see a pattern that looks like it could go higher, trade that. But I don't know that this goes up too much higher. We're already after the earnings. We'll get that momentum pop, and then it'll probably come back in. That's what I'd be looking for with HPE.
Okay. Real good stuff there as well. Okay, next here is going to be CrowdStrike. This is one, we've talked about this quite a bit here, or stocks related to this as well. CrowdStrike shares trading higher after the company issued strong guidance. So taking a look here, it looks like that first initial move was down. Huge reversal in the after hours and actually went higher here in the pre-market. So CrowdStrike looking pretty good. When you see this on one of these bigger stocks, I expect to see a lot of coverage changes here. Looks like that's what we got here. New buy rating for CrowdStrike Holdings. Needham reiterates buy on CrowdStrike, 425 price target. There looks like there were several price target reiterations here. BTIG maintaining a buy, Rosenblatt maintaining a buy, raising the price target there. BTIG actually lowered their price target. Mizuho maintaining a buy. Oppenheimer maintaining outperform. So analysts here saying that this is pretty good too. Earnings or the guidance here looks pretty good. If we take a look at the daily chart here, looks like we've kind of gotten back a whole lot of this. The daily, there we go. I was going to say that candle hasn't been drawn yet. Looks like we're kind of putting in a V bottom here. We actually bounced back up to this area that was previous resistance and support here on CrowdStrike. So this is one to watch. This is also one, if you like trading options on your day trades, this actually might be your best target here today. You got anything on CrowdStrike?
Well, I don't know if this is the strongest cybersecurity company out there, but they are one of the best cloud cybersecurity companies out there. So this could their earnings and their business could continue to do well. I don't really see this slowing down. We'll probably see some pullbacks here and there based on price extending way too high, but maybe the dips are worth buying in this one. So I don't know where this one ends up, but I think this is a good company either way.
Real quick here, thinking about it, you're mentioning Endra, ticker NDRA. This is like a 12-cent stock, right? 16-cent stock here. This is a penny stock. We generally don't cover these. I'll mention them if they're moving. Looks like it's moving here, but not really doing that and not really covering that. We are open. Really quick, JJ asking about MLGO. Any follow-up? I don't really think anything's going on here, right? This is just kind of in its coming back to earth phase here. I actually would expect this to trade down today. We'll see if anything pops up here. Now, I'm going to flip over to Trade the Pool. Don't forget, our stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you need some help getting over that 25K day trading threshold, Trade the Pool probably can help you out with that. If you need more dry powder, they can help with that. And they're also doing a trading competition that starts on June 10th. So for those of you that love competitions, especially trading competitions, be sure to check it out. Got a whole bunch of prizes. Stuff that you can win, so be sure to check it out. We love that stuff. Okay, we're open.
MLGO, yesterday I traded that one a whole bunch. It had so many great trades provided, so that one was fun. I'll say that much.
There we go.
Fun stock.
Okay. Johnny's asking, should I sell my GameStop? Bro, if you have to ask random people on the internet that, man, oh man, I think there's something else going on here. There's no way that anyone here can answer that for you. We are not licensed financial advisors, number one, so it's illegal. But number two, there's a whole bunch of other information in there that's going to be really important, like where did you buy it and all of that stuff. Can't answer that for you, my man. Good luck on your trade. All right, SYTA getting called here for some volume flow. I've got to pull up the right stock to be able to do that. Let's take a look here. SYTA. Looks like we stopped right there at the VWAP.
Yeah, getting a bit of rejection there. 190 seems to be interesting. This is the one I was talking about earlier, 190, right? Yeah, so 190.
Yep.
It looks like the big support level it needs to hold up here. So. Let me see here. We go through these other tickers.
MFI, that Hong Kong name that didn't really have anything in Mo, looks like negative Mo. That's going down here. MITQ, this is another one that we covered from this morning. Pull back right out of the open here on MITQ.
Now, some of these that we were thinking, they're probably not going to do a whole lot. Just, they might slowly do something throughout the entire day.
Yeah, that's good.
I remember there was one that we were talking about yesterday. Started with a C. Cores.
CORZ. Yeah.
So that one dropped out of the gate, and then just the entire day it slowly crept up. The thing is that I don't think there was a whole lot there unless you were hoping just for $1, because that's about all you really got with the price action was $1. So I think the better opportunity was MLGO. That's why I didn't trade Cores. But if you parked like some money in in Cores at the beginning of the day and sold it at the end, you did well.
Real quick here. Yesterday we saw some of the Mag 7 names, some of the tech names pull back. Looks like we're getting a little bit of the opposite effect here. Meta, big move out of the gate. Same deal with Apple. I'll go to ASNS here in a second. The other thing to take a look at here, Tesla again really pulling. So let's find a spot where Tesla might bounce. Here is ASNS. Where are we at with this one? Halted to the downside. Looks like it just lost VWAP there and halted to the downside on ASNS. Not looking great here on really any of the setups that we had covered. I noticed that CCM, we also briefly mentioned that this morning. CCM also halted here. This one halted to the downside. Let's take a look at Chewy. Let's take a look at the swing that we opened up with calls. Okay, Chewy had a nice little run out of the gate. We were able to sell into that spike yesterday. Held it overnight here today. Looks like we're trying to trade back up. Would love to see that. Remember, those calls are the July 22 and a half calls. So we are right there at the money on this. Would really love to see a move. MFI, let's take a look.
Trying to rebound.
That's the Chinese Hong Kong name, right? Yep. Looks like that is trying to put in a bottom here.
Yeah, it looks like XTIA is also trying to stop its fall. It's been falling since it popped this morning. Got up to 311, and now it's just kind of leaking here. So maybe this goes right back down to $1. We'll see.
LRMR, Larimar Therapeutics here. This actually took out yesterday's intraday high, didn't it? Yeah, sure did. Right here. Took out yesterday's intraday high. This is spread almost 20 cents here. Volume's kind of low on this name. Chart actually looks pretty decent on this one. Let's take a look at XTIA. XTIA continuing to move to the downside. Lots of pulls here.
Lion Atlas mentioning AEI looks good. I'm also looking at Bitcoin. We're holding above that 70,640 level, which is that was a level that I have marked off here from previous price action. So we're holding above that. And if you look at the Bitcoin daily chart, you can see that we're coming up into a bit of a cup formation where we're going to break out here at 72,000 if we get up there. So I think, go ahead.
I was just going to say a 72 breakout for BTC looks on deck here for me. And then you went ahead and said that. So good stuff. Good stuff there. GME, by the way, nice power candle here out of the open. So Johnny, hopefully you didn't sell right there, right? I'd like to hear, you had said that you just wanted to see what my take on it is. I don't have any fundamental reason to own GME. We will absolutely trade this if the trade setup is there as a potential day trade, especially given all of the hype and all of the stuff that goes on around GME. I didn't necessarily see an entry here, but this is a nice pop off the pre-market lows. We actually took the VWAP out. Volume looks good here too. This stock can do whatever it wants. One of the things that we've seen over the number of sessions covering this stock, it seems to reverse and bounce and do that hard pretty much whenever it wants. As far as trying to analyze this, love to see that this moved through the VWAP here. Looks like it's trying to backtest that VWAP. A hold of that means that this probably goes higher, and 27 would be a first target there. I think it could go even higher than that.
CCM might have, I'm not saying it did, but it could have found a bottom, because if you look at the price action from yesterday at about just before lunch, there's a pop that found resistance right at about this level where the price is at right now in CCM. I'm wondering, but it's halted because it was going down to the downside a lot more. So that's a second halt now, I think, in CCM. Once it opens, I'd be looking to see if it reverses and goes higher, but we'll have to wait and see.
Thinking about it,
is also suspended too for the second time, I think.
Thinking about it, Endra now popping up on my relative volume scanner here. This 3-minute formation looks like this is going to try and go higher here. We'll see if that ends up breaking out. MITQ looks like it bounced off that $1 level, trying to go back to the VWAP there at 132. We'll see if it's got the strength to do that so far.
Yeah, Zim getting mentioned. That is just on a rip right now. Just tearing into this guy. Nikolai
asked on X, but thoughts on Boeing having a bullish run after today with NASA launch if successful. Okay, so first of all, just FYI, we invite a whole bunch of different audiences here, but I'm not sure if I'm getting the Twitter. Maybe you did. Maybe I did see that earlier and it just shows it as an X. We might have just straight up missed it. Let me check on that for you. I want to know if this works, frankly. So sorry, go ahead.
As far as Boeing goes, we've talked a lot about how it's in a broadening wedge, and we already anticipate there to be more upside. It's just been running into a lot of issues with the FAA and their doors falling off or their aircraft having issues. But it does have a nice technical setup here, not with just the broadening wedge, but now we seem to have formed an inverse head and shoulders, and we're pretty close to. We're actually on the breaking out of it, yesterday and today. So right now we're testing the top side of that neckline support. I think that we could, if we start consolidating here a little bit more, we could end up getting back up into the 200 handle. Just kind of have to let's wait and see if we can, if it starts to resolve the way I'm thinking it will. But this looks like an inverse head and shoulders inside a broadening wedge, and I think that a long-term position in Boeing probably will reward you pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. First of all, Nikolai, we did get the question on X. We just didn't cover that during the pre-market rundown. As you can see, we actually went right into the bell. Just did not have enough time. So we do get the comments there on Twitter. Thank you, Twitter folk, for participating. Really appreciate that. One more thing, just to kind of add to what 13 was saying there about Boeing. First of all, I agree. Long-term, great American company. I know they're going through some real tough times right now. military contracts in there as well. Lots of really good stuff there. As far as looking at the chart, what I'd really like to see here is a reclaim of this 500-day moving average. This is the purple line. I have that value at 192.02. Let's just call it 192. So if we can get above that, maybe get a couple of closes above that, I think the next move is going to be a march towards the 200-day, which I currently have at 202. So I'd like to see this really kind of get above some of these moving averages and then close several times above that. That would help me confirm that we're really kind of moving off this bottom here at about 170. So hope that is helpful for you. Let me go back to the Trade the Pool platform. Add that current comment. Okay.
Oh, by the way, MITQ is halted after it reversed.
MITQ halted. Bring that up here.
Found support.
Hey, look at that.
Found support at about $1 and bounced back up from there. All right. Time to find what else we got here. So XTIA is, that new purchase order, apparently not too great, or maybe it is. It might be reversing down here. We're almost at the price it was before this whole huge run happened. So let's see if this can start to reverse now. It's coming down to the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, which I have at 117. So even if this isn't reversing here, I'd look for that, or even the 200 EMA, which I have at 101 to provide support. So we lose both of those EMAs, then this is likely done.
Real quick here, Jay Rice, Eli Lilly, ticker LLY, CFO is leaving. What's that?
Going to Google.
Going to Google here. Look at Lilly right here. This actually moving down. I want to see, let me see what this daily looks like. Let me pull this back up in pro here, ticker LLY. That news is fresh as of this morning, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, Lilly announces departure of the CFO. That was 7:45 this morning. Okay.
Anat Ashkenazi.
I was you know what, when I said CFO, I was like, is Joe gonna try and pronounce this name? Because I kind of just bailed on it. And then you did. That actually looks right. That looks and sounds right to me.
I certainly hope it is. But yeah, they Google has named them Alphabet CFO.
Okay. Lilly down 1.5% here on that. Let's take a look at the daily chart on Eli Lilly. As far as a trade goes here, I want to see what this stock does around its 50. And its 50 is what, almost 50 points away from where we're currently at. Let's pull back to that 775, 772 level and see what Lilly does price action wise there for a potential trade. I don't even know. And as far as shorting goes, I know we're, backing off this high RSI level. Maybe it doesn't even come back in here. If you feel strongly about that, maybe a put play or some type of play to move back down there. I'd actually be waiting to see what it does at that level. Good stuff, though. Good. Appreciate you mentioning this, Jay.
Getting big mentions from GME that it's taking off.
Let's take a look.
It's putting up
look
few
at that
candles here. Yeah.
Well, okay, tell me. I wonder if I scared away that gentleman from earlier. Let's see here. Let me see. What was Johnny? Johnny, if you're still here, let me know how you're playing this. This is kind of what I meant about GME being whatever it wants, it can do whatever it wants. This is a power move here out of the open. I guess maybe the only entry trigger here, you just kind of going back and looking at the potential trade here. This nice little move through the VWAP, I guess, could have been an entry signal there. Let me know how you folks are trading this, what level you have here on GME, if any.
I think 2940 might be a resistance level. So if you look at an intraday chart and put a line about 2940 right there, you can see yesterday and the day before that was not only a support from resistance level, but it has been a resistance level ever since it became a resistance level. We've had multiple tests up there and been rejected. So seems to me like 2940 is the level that it needs to get over. So it might get interesting once it gets up to that level. And that's still like $1.20 away. Yeah,
I think that you're right there. And you know what? $1.20 is nothing for this stock. We've seen that, no problem. Daniel's saying check AMC. AMC doing the same thing here, to less of a degree. One of the things when we talked about this last time, I think I'd rather participate with GME than AMC, personally, but I guess that's up to you. MITQ through that VWAP. That's right where it halted there. Excuse me, move through the VWAP here. This one looking pretty good as well. MITQ. ASNS. Let's see what that's doing here. Looks like I guess it's. Did this halt again? Yes.
It looks like Riot
Trading halt.
Platforms
Yes.
got a short report.
Which one? What did?
Riot Platforms, RIOT, from Carisdale Capital.
Carisdale. Okay. So here we go. We just talked, Jay Rice. We were just talking about the Spruce Point report on Boot. Here we go. Courtesy of Benzinga Pro, Riot Platform shares trading lower after Carisdale Capital issues a report on the stock. By the way, for any of you that do have Benzinga Pro, of course, we have linked to the actual short PDF right here within the newsfeed. Let me go ahead and pull it up here. So here you go. Here is your short report on Riot here. Riot actually trading down on this news.
All right. So what do we think? Do we think that this is an opportunity to get it cheap?
Riot down 5.5% here. To me, 13. So really good question there tactically. To me, though, I'm not trying to pick the bottom on this name. I'll wait for this to confirm a bottom first before I try to take a stab at it. Let's wait for the dust settle. Down almost 6.5% now here.
Yeah, which by the way is less than $1. So it's not really moving down a whole bunch right now. But it's probably not finished. So let's keep that in mind.
Real quick here, Jay. You're talking about the quality of these different short reporters, et cetera, et cetera. Carisdale better than Spruce Point. So look like you're not necessarily trying to go against them right away here.
Activision up 7%. Activision Blizzard? They got acquired by Microsoft. What's the ticker for Activision that you're looking at, Ryan Carver?
I was going to say that Activision, that was a masterclass that you put on over the years. I think it was 2 years regarding Activision. That entire thing with Blizzard, the whole thing.
And the only
short, thing the long, everything in between. Yeah, dude,
the only thing I didn't know about that I missed was that they were getting acquired. So having a position when that news came was great. So it was a super great surprise, but the technicals were leading me down and up. So it was great. Really easy trade.
MITQ, by the way, that move up through the VWAP, big reversal here, halted to the downside. GME, I'm seeing big knife. So this knife, though, folks, I'm not going to overreact to this one. This knife coming right back into the VWAP. This is actually a potential bounce spot here. GME 2741.
MITQ halt. I mean, you probably said that already. ASNS halted. I don't know. Almost all the names that we were trading and looking at today are just kind of getting halted.
Yeah, I'm wondering if GME is going to give me some entry down here. We'll see if it falls. It doesn't look like it. Dan Zimmerman talking about Zim. Zim looks good here. GME, by the way, did miss entry here. But this is actually a pretty decent bounce. I would say on a scalp here, maybe start scaling on that. Let's take a look at Zim here as GME as the dust settles there. Zim here about 2231, holding right above its VWAP. This actually looks like a good intraday chart here on Zim. I agree, Dan. This looks good. I agree.
22 needs to hold. I mean, you look at an intraday chart and back out a bit. You can see that 22 was the resistance level for yesterday. The pre-market. It was the support level when we opened the day before and fell right through that, never got back up it. So now it broke out back above it. So that's the important level for me right now is 22. You see the price action I'm talking about? Yeah,
absolutely. I do. I literally have this highlighted here. 100% I do.
So that's what I'd be looking at.
I was off by a little bit. STFU spamming me on GME. Let's see here real quick. Let's see here real quick. What happened? Ryan, you're about to get a buy entry on GME. So it didn't quite go down there again. I'm wondering. So the thesis here is just straight up, not really very, in depth, if you will, but technical. Does this bounce off the VWAP? Looks like it started to do that. This was the candle that I missed here. This actually looks like this is trying to go. Let's see what happens at 28.
Palantir with a big green candle.
You like to hear that. Through 28 here. So this bounce, again, if you took this bounce off the VWAP, I think just as kind of a technical thing here, got to trim into this one.
Wow. Who mentioned it? Stock Trading said MLGO question mark. And yeah, it looks like this thing is getting some volume, so much so that it got halted. So right now it's halted right at the middle of the supply zone that was put in pre-market trading and after hours.
NVVE also halted here.
Jeez.
Looks like this had a little bit of a movement here in the pre-market on not crazy volume. That volume expanded and has been all volume here. This halted up. And this is, Jonathan's right here. This is the second halt of the day here. NVVE halted at 142.
Yeah. So with MLGO, I mean, if this gets going some more, I'd be looking for a break at 9. MITQ is open. It just opened. Looks like it's going to come in for another test of the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, which I have at 111. Looks like Zim, if it consolidates some more, it might try to push up above 2248. Let's see here. There's a big sell order at 2244. Takes that out. I don't know how much this runs.
And this is on Zim, right? Yeah, here we go.
Mm-hmm. So there's that. What else? SYTA trying to push up. Not really getting the momentum yet, but the MACD shows it's curling. So this one could get going. I think we'll have to wait and see what happens with SYTA.
Lion Atlas calling along here on CCM. Boy, you're bottom fishing there. Good luck on that trade. Jay here mentioning the Dow names red. Boeing, CRM, UNH, Home Depot. A lot of red here in the Dow. Looking at the Dow, this actually rolling over to the lows here. Dow looking the worst of the 3 indexes so far. NASDAQ just kind of hanging in there.
Is it still
SPY rolling over too?
Is it still beneath the 50-day, the DIA? So
let me take a yeah. Let me take. I don't have that on this chart. I've got them on different charts here. Let me take a look here for you. Yes, it is. So this is what 13 is asking me about. Now I'm charting the DIA. This is the tradable ETF here. This is the 50-day that 13 is asking about. I've got that at 388.12. 13, you might have a different ticker here in different levels. Go ahead and mention them. But yes, it is still under that. Looks like it's trying to, it's getting rejected by this, right? That's the takeaway here.
Yeah, it was rejected yesterday. It looks like it opened above it and now it's trading back beneath it. So, and the formation here looks very much like a bear flag. So it seems to me like in the coming days, the DIA is going lower. I have 369.50 as a downside target. If this ends up falling some more, so that'd actually be line up pretty well with the 200-day SMA if we start moving down there. So maybe we get a bounce off that.
Okay, a couple of more things going on here that I just wanted to mention real quick. Just talking about INOD here. We've talked about this one a lot recently. INOD, this actually is at a spot here. It's kind of doing a thing. Watch for this to maybe break out here. The other thing about for a couple of things going on with this. First of all, this is clearly a resistance area where the stock was previously rejected. The RSI is pretty cooked here at 82 on the daily chart. This was a kind of a higher short interest stock. This still has almost 10% of its float shorted a day to cover. If this breaks its high here, I think you might get a little bit of a squeeze effect here. Remember, this also had a short report that initially knocked it down. I can't see how those people are still in it. INOD, interesting level here. No position for me, but this one definitely interesting.
Yeah, and Zim moved into a new intraday high. 2264 is where it's at now.
Oh my God, Zim, nice little break out of that formation there.
AI also seemingly having a little bit of movement as well. It just made new intraday highs, 30.28, pretty close to the high out of the gate yesterday, which was 30.38. Maybe we see a break here, and if we do, we could probably run up to 30.84. How about that? Which was the previous day's high. So those are some levels for you if you're looking to trade AI.
Okay. And then the other thing here, the other thing that's going on, just kind of looking around, we did have kind of a change here with some of those tech names. Apple, we talked about earlier here. This ran right out of the highs, came back in, just recrossed its VWAP. Netflix, actually, NFLX, got to get the ticker right here. Netflix actually popping towards the highs here. Goldman Sachs actually trading up here. So that was, man, I tell you what, that trying to buy that breakout on that move to 500 on Goldman Sachs, I got slapped around on that. I'm still in it. This is very, very small option position here. Goldman Sachs having a nice day out of the open, and maybe Tesla trying to bounce out of the down move that it had here. So we'll see. NVVE, that penny stock you guys are looking at, that is open and ripping here. Let's see if it can get through 150. Okay, it's just about 10 o'clock this morning. You know what that means, folks. When it's 10 o'clock, we got to start bringing on our guests. We are going to bring on the one and only Tim Melvin. Tim, how you doing here today? Happy Wednesday, boss.
Well, happy Wednesday, guys. Hope everybody's being treated well in what can only be considered a very sloppy financial market since the 1st of June. Seems to be the reality that the interest rate drop that we've all hoped for can only be caused by really ugly economic news, and getting that together in your brain is not working out well for a lot of folks right now, apparently.
No, it's not. And you're absolutely right. It has been sloppy here. I'll be honest, Tim, I'm just going to get right to it here. What do you, when you see action like this and you have an open like this, I know we talked last week, you're not necessarily a day-to-day guy here, but when you see something like this, what do you do here? What are you looking at on a day like today?
Nothing different than any other day. I mean, when I say that I don't put a lot of weight in daily movements, I really mean it. It's unless the daily price movement creates an extreme price opportunity to a longer term investor, right? Somebody that's not trading stocks, they're buying businesses. Mm-hmm. And that's how everybody says that. And, nobody does it, right? There were two people, one of them died last November. So, only Warren's left alive of the Warrens, Everybody else seems to be trading stocks, and that's fine, but it's not what I do. So if I see a stock that I know really well and it gaps down at the open 15, 20%, then I'm probably a buyer.
Okay.
If the market's just trading all over the place, especially now when we've had a very long-term uptrend in place since like February of last year in the NASDAQ, since Halloween in the S&P 500, there's just really powerful uptrend. Valuations are not cheap, so there's not a lot of bargains around. So I'm not paying a lot of attention to the day to day. People will see me out and about and they'll be like, "Oh, what did the market do today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. Let me check my phone."
Yeah,
a lot of days I really don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I guess, is there anything else you have on your shopping list? Is there anything else that you're kind of looking for towards adding? I know we talked, I brought up Starwood here. I noticed that Barry Sternlicht was actually on CNBC this morning. Unfortunately, I didn't catch what he had to say here. I'm just wondering, is there anything that you're looking to add to with positions here? I was mentioning Goldman Sachs here is kind of been trading up. Do you see anything in the banking sector at all that's of note?
Come on, you're into my wheelhouse now in the banking sector. This is where we live and breathe, right? I've been investing in small banks since the early 1990s. And it's been my bread and butter, kind of investment, the core of my portfolio, because there is a consolidation trend in banking, right? Mm-hmm. We have too many banks in the United States. And that's been going on for a very long time. Up until the 1980s, banking was state by state regulated. Okay, there was no interstate banking. There were a few correspondent banks in larger cities, mainly Chicago and New York. Mm-hmm. I think the old Chase Manhattan, Manufacturers Hanover, some of those that allowed you to correspond and do business overseas or between banks, but you had to go through that bank to get to another bank most of the time. That changed in when the S&L crisis started kind of picking up steam in the 80s. So they changed the rules so banks could buy banks in other states, distressed banks. Mm-hmm. So because there was, if you've got distressed banks, you need somebody to buy it. Either that or the FDIC is going to eat it. Well, the dirty little secret is the FDIC can't afford to eat too many banks. It's an insurance fund that operates on a fractional reserve. Okay. So Reagan signed into law, allowed cross-border transactions in distressed situations. Clinton signed in the final Interstate Banking Act in 1994, and that opened the floodgates. We had 20,000 banks and thrifts when all this started. Now we're down to about 5,000 commercial banks, about 4,600, 400 thrifts, and 2,700 credit unions in the United States. By comparison, France has 300 banks total. Okay. We have more banks in the United States than all of Europe combined. So we don't need this many banks. And as things have changed, banks become a business of scale. Okay. The larger you are, the more profitable you are as a rule. And I see you have NYCB up there on the screen. We can talk about that one if you want to in a minute. But although this administration has been very hostile to bank takeovers, it doesn't do away with the problem that small banks are too small to compete. And the only way for big banks to rationally grow, larger community and regional banks, bottom line, we're not in a high growth economy, right? What we've seen in economic growth is we've recovered what we lost in 2020. But plus or minus, the 20-year average growth rate in the United States is about 2.3%. We probably come in a little bit on the low side of that over the next 15 to 20 years. How does a bank grow? The best way to grow is to buy a smaller bank. You can rip out about 35 to 40% of costs. If you're a credit union and you buy another bank, you can rip out cost plus income taxes because credit unions don't pay taxes. So we're seeing a lot of those transactions in this year. So there's still too many banks. The best way for banks to grow is by M&A. There's a lot of smaller banks out there, and these are the banks that I love. You're not getting any names on this because they're just too small. Okay, but I'm going to tell you that you've got a bunch of banks out there that are sitting there. They're trading well below book value. Most of the ones I love used to be mutual thrifts and did a conversion in the last decade or so. So they're trading well below book. They have a ton of capital. They have a large amount of insider ownership. They're too small. They can't compete with Jamie Dimon on tech. The regulatory costs go up every day, it seems like. But certainly every year that cost burden's coming up. Then there's technology. If you add technology, you've got cybersecurity. You just don't have the money to spend that a larger bank does. Now, you've got another bank over here that's stuck at, let's say, $5 billion. They're public. They have to grow earnings or their stock price is going to get disappointed. So they're looking for banks to buy. This smaller bank, in a lot of cases, you've got a board of directors that's entirely 65 years and up. And you've got officers. So they're looking for an exit, and they own a lot of stock. So you've got a really nice match of willing buyers and willing sellers out there if the regulators just get out of the way. So the small banks, it's been the core of my portfolio. We've put up just returns you couldn't believe investing in these things for 30 years.
So what's the next one?
Yeah, I'm not giving you, I just told you I'm not giving you any of those. I mean, we've talked about our Texas banks that have done extremely well. But then as you go up the scale, what we're looking for is we're looking for banks that are growing book value, that are paying dividends, that are buying back stock, that have consistently got plenty of capital. They're not making problem loans. Here we're looking at banks, and this one is actually a thrift that did a 2020 thrift offering, but it's a larger bank, and that's Eastern Bank out of Boston, Massachusetts. The symbol's EBC. They've done a couple of acquisitions. They did one deal right as they were closing to buy another mutual thrift. They bought, I believe it was Century Bank coming out of the gate. So these guys are acquisition minded. They're growing. They're much larger than a normal thrift conversion. They're growing book value. They're buying back a ton of stock. The yield's 3.29%. They've been growing it. Just an extremely well-run bank. They're closing on a bank, Cambridge Bank Corp. They bought to expand their presence in the Boston market. Lots of capital, and I didn't have time to take a lot of notes, so I left all of my all of my screens and windows and databases open. So when you go and you look, they've got an equity asset ratio of over 13. The average bank is flirting around 9. So they've got a lot more capital than the average bank. And then you come in, non-performing assets are 0.26%, right? 0.26, 26 100ths of 1% of total assets. Okay. And you come in, you look, where are they lending all the money? It's a little bit of commercial real estate, some small business, lot of single family mortgages, but they're really conservative on the underwriting side. So they're really not having loan problems. And the thing that you have to keep in mind, guys, is, and look, I see all the headlines everybody else sees. Okay. Great tweet out there this morning. FDIC says 16, what the hell was the final number? 63 banks on the verge of insolvency. It's a banking crisis. Yeah. And if you read the whole note from the recent FDIC call report, there's 63 banks on the troubled bank list. It's less than 1%. It's about normal. Okay, that's what's the normal amount that's on there. And only a small fraction of these banks will even come close to failing. Okay, just means that they're on the troubled. That's kind of like, hey, I got my eye on you.
So is that one of the places that you look? I mean, I hate to say it, but are you kind of dumpster diving off some of those lists?
Never.
Okay.
I don't need to. We want lots of capital. We want very conservative loan portfolios. We're looking for bankers that have no history of stupidity.
Okay.
Okay.
Banking, I like that.
Look, banking crises are caused by stupidity. If you go back and you look at 2023, right? One bank got in bed with crypto. Big mistake. Whatever your opinion of crypto, you have to admit there's a lot of bad actors in the industry. So banking that industry was a mistake. Okay. Then you've got 3 banks that went out with interest rates at 0 basically and bought 30-year treasuries, lots of 30-year treasuries, and they took in large deposits because they stupidly believed that their clients had such loyalty they didn't need insurance. So at one point, 90% of all deposits at Silicon Valley Bank shares were uninsured, and they had this massive amount of assets in long dated treasuries at very low coupons. That was a recipe for failure. I'm sorry. And the regulators kind of ignored it, but it wasn't any great economic development. It was bankers being stupid. So we want to avoid stupidity. Solid credit, solid history of smart lending, lots of capital. Capital's key under every condition. If you favored only banks with very high capital ratios, 2008 was a non-event for you. Okay. Now, there was only about 10 banks to buy in the whole country, but if you owned those 10, it was a non-event. So that's that's our focus. We want high quality, smaller banks that are going to need to sell for reasons of scale or liquidity or an exit strategy for the current owners. We know there's buyers, so we don't lose too much sleep over those. So EBC, HONE, that's Harbor One, also out of the Boston area. Then we like ESSA out of East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And again, they did a thrift conversion like a dozen years ago. Gary Olson and his team are brilliant bankers. They took this little bank in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, which is basically the middle of nowhere over in the western half of the state, and they grew up towards the Allentown, Lehigh Valley, Scranton area, and they've grown back down towards the much more lucrative Philadelphia market, and they've been measured about it. They've been smart, but they've got plenty of capital. They're buying back stock. They're paying a dividend. They're growing the dividend. And most importantly, they're growing book value. That's what we watch for. We want to see that the book value of the bank, tangible book value, going up all the time. And we want to pay less than book value. When you get that whole combination right, you're buying quality banks at bargain prices, and you have a margin of safety both in the balance sheet with high capital levels and in the loan portfolio.
Those are exactly the type of trades that I want over a number of years. Got a question here from one of the viewers. Does Tim think EBC is a takeover target?
It's merging.
Yeah, EBC is buying Cambridge Bank.
Okay, so there you go. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, 13.
Look, they're in the Boston market, okay? everything but the largest banks in the Boston market, Philadelphia, New York, are at some level for sale if the right bank comes in to buy it. Having said that, Eastern is big enough that the regulators are going to say, "Well, let's chat." They're $2.3 billion in market cap. It's doable for a lot of banks. It's a great franchise, but they've also been very acquisition minded by themselves. They're looking to grow in that market. They've been there since 1818, I believe. So they kind of know the market a little bit.
I would say.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, they're of a size they could be a takeover target. You want two that are probable. Yeah, I think this is going to happen in the next 24 months. Look to the Korean American banks. There's banks out there that serve ethnic communities. Okay.
Yep.
And the Korean market is really attractive, especially in the United States. But B, it's getting crowded. Right. So you've got PCB in LA and then RBB Bancorp that are both doing business with the Korean and the Asian communities. They're both trading below book value. They're both growing book value. They're both buying back stocks. They have stellar loan portfolios. But there's much bigger competitors in this space. Okay. So they're both small enough. They're going to have scale problems in staying and remaining competitive. So you could see a merger of equals between these two. Okay. Or you could see one of the larger banks in the space decide to consolidate the space further. We've had a few mergers in this kind of little corner of the banking market already. So, high quality banks, nobody knows about them. Nobody cares about them. Except the people doing business with them. Nobody's thinking about them. They're way off Wall Street's radar screen. They're sitting there. They're bargains. They're well run. They've got a margin of safety in the balance sheets and the capital account and the loan portfolio. And there's a lot of reasons I can give you that these banks need to either merge together or they're at risk of being bought by larger players in the space.
Okay. So that was awesome. And I really appreciate that. Like I said, these are the type of trades that I really like. Look, if you guys want to see more of Tim Melvin, be sure to sign up for our Benzinga Universe webinar. Just went ahead and threw the link in the chat there. Tim, great stuff again, as always. I'll be honest with you. I come to these ready to listen. This is something that the whole banking sector, despite working in the banking sector in a previous life, not one that I follow in stocks, love the different banks that you're picking and the reasons for picking them. And I can't thank you enough for sharing it here with our group.
All right, guys, it's always my pleasure to come on, talk about whatever's going on in the world. I don't have the temperament to do what you two guys do.
Yeah.
The one time I tried to be a trader, like a weekend, I'd broken 3 laptops. So,
Tim, I got a secret.
Not my kind of thing. So.
I got a
secret. They are great frisbees, though.
They make great frisbees. That's a good point. I got a secret for you, though. Look, the more I day trade, the more it turns out that I want to just be an investor. Like my own experience is that I don't want to break my computer either. Well, I'm with you on that. I do what the market hands me, right? But what I'd much rather do is take a very slow and steady approach.
It's worked for me. And if you really need to add risk, just use really smart value-oriented principles, quality companies at bargain prices, and do what Warren and Charlie did. Add some leverage.
Okay. Tim, really appreciate it. Again, if you want to hear more about Tim, go ahead and check out the Benzinga Universe webinar. Tim, we'll see you next week. We'll see you next Wednesday. All
right, guys. Well, yes, absolutely. You will. We'll see you then.
Fantastic. Take care. Right. Tim Melvin, again, from our research site. He is absolutely awesome. And he is talking more about those bigger stocks that serve as good investments. Look, folks, how many times have we talked about, trading some of these things that are kind of junky names and gunslingers? You're going to get the opposite from Tim. And as I've been telling you from the very beginning here, although one of the things we do is we start with these morning movers and these little stocks that are kind of moving around and ripping, we will cover anything in the market. We've got stuff for all different types of investors. Don't ever forget it. James, appreciate that. Go ahead, 13.
Here, GME is right at that first level and through it that I was talking about, that 3050. So next one is going to be 3084. Let's see what happens up there. I think we actually may have just got pretty close there. Almost. Looks like. So we break that level. The next one is going to be the supply zone from Monday.
Volume telling the story once again here. This impulse move falling on the expanding volume as we move through it, and right to the level that 13 was talking about.
3075 it's pretty close in between those two levels I was mentioning. So I'll take it.
AMC doing the same thing. Let me ask you, why do these stocks wait until we have a nuanced discussion about investing before they start going ham? That's what I'd like to figure out here. It would have been great if we could have done this before.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously watching us.
I mean, clearly. Clearly. Looking around here at the rest of the market here, it seems like this is where the action is, doesn't it? Taking a look at some of the other stuff. Yeah, XTIA, boy, this did nothing, man. XTIA.
How many halts there were today, and I agree. I mean, it seems like it's super spready and just thin, but the price action creates all kinds of volatility. So we're seeing this these suspensions and these halts as a result of that. ANNX
from yesterday. This is a potential breakout move here. ANNX.
There was another one that was moving yesterday. I think I mentioned it while Tim was speaking. Let me see if I can find it. But ASTS. That was moving again. Let's take a look here and see what it's doing.
Let me bring that up here. Sorry, just getting my screens back in order here.
So ASTS got up to 960. It looks like it's putting in a bit of a bull pennant. We'll have to see if it can hold VWAP, which is at 927. I have it at 927. So if that holds, we might see this reverse and go higher. That is ASTS.
Yeah, that's here. Really got to hold this VWAP, as you were just saying here. We'll see if this moves higher. MLGO also having some interesting price action. This actually just lost the VWAP. We'll see if it reclaims it and goes higher here. That's going to be MLGO. NVVE, this is another one that we talked about. Looks like this came in towards the VWAP. Didn't quite get there, but putting in a decent bounce move here. It's going to be on NVVE. Look at NVAX, dude. Look at the move on NVAX here today. Weren't you saying that we had a guy in happy hour that was pretty big into NVAX like 10 points ago?
I don't remember if we did or not. I know it's been talked a lot about lately. There might have been.
Ashfan mentioning Endra is going nowhere. Is that a Freudian slip there? Did you just mention the Twitch streamers? No, I see. You called it by the name of the company, not the ticker. Ticker NDRA. This right at the VWAP. This is that penny stock, though. I don't know if that's going to be our best play here today.
John,
Kenny Glick likes NVAX. That's right. Thank you.
I don't think there's any indicators that I can point to that indicate that to me. For me, it's really just looking at the volume and the price action and seeing, okay, this is getting a little bit, agitated to the point where it's going to trigger a volatility halt. So it's really just looking at it and watching the price action. I don't know of any indicator that's going to alert me to that right before it happens, or if moments before it happens. If anybody else knows of one, let us know. That'd be probably a pretty good indicator to have, but I'm not aware of anyone that does.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Tom. We'll see. We'll be back here tomorrow. We'll see it. 13. So I agree with you. I don't think there's necessarily an indicator that you overlay on a chart, but much like you, kind of watching price action, I'll watch the time and sales. And I'll watch the level 2. And if it looks like all of a sudden we push right into an area and all of a sudden those bids start piling up, the offers start piling up on the ask and the stock really can't get there, or in reverse, if the bids start piling up there, that tells me, generally speaking, this stock is about to get halted. It has to put in a pretty profound move first in order for that to be the case, though.
SYTA, I'm watching. I have this on my radar just to see if it'll break 220. That looks like it's been a big resistance level this morning. I want to see if the price can get over that. So that's SYTA.
So far, that's building above the VWAP there. Good morning, Elon. Great to see you here this morning. You were mentioning Dell, Elon. Looks like Dell doing a pretty decent job holding that 50-day, as you can see on the daily chart. Let me bring you a bigger chart here. I know Dell, this was one that was being followed running into that earnings thing, really ran into earnings and really got shelled.
Sorry.
Here, yeah, no, all good. Let me go back to MLGO here, but just to kind of finish off what we're looking at here on Dell, here's going to be your daily chart. We're getting multiple closes above this 50 potential bounce spot here. So I don't know if you're going to look at this as a trade. Looks like we just gave all of that up here. Let me go back and take a look at MLGO. Sounds like that's moving as we speak.
It's for me, it's trying to get over VWAP and the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. We break those, then there's the only thing that's in the way is just, supply and previous levels. So looking for this one to possibly reverse. Maybe if it starts acting up, it could probably even go higher than the 950 that it got about 15 minutes ago. Moneymaker from Axis mentioning Arton.
That's a 3-cent stock, man. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not going to cover 3-cent stocks, Moneymaker. Apologize, my man. Apologize, but there's nothing real in there.
So it's waiting to see what MLGO does. It's kind of hanging out in this 8 handle right now. Getting a mention that Zim popped, making new intraday highs. Looks like 23 is on the horizon.
CrowdStrike trying to retake its VWAP here. Let's take a look here at Zim. Look at that. Another leg up here on Zim. Wow.
Yeah. What else? GME is really coming in after hitting 30.75. So it's kind of at about the spot where I would hope if I was in this one, I would want to see it turn around. 28.70, I guess we'll call it. It was a resistance level on the initial pop out of the gate, and we kind of consolidated and broke out from that level. So that's now the support level that it's getting support from at the moment. So we want to see it hold. It's also right in the area of VWAP. So I'd say 28.70 is the level that you'd want to see hold for a reversal. And it looks like it's starting to go.
Looking at VKTX here, we had a big reversal yesterday. This really kind of fell out. Looks like we was kind of stop hunting here. If you look at the daily, looks like it really just kind of blew out any of those stops that might have been around $60. This actually did punch through the 100-day moving average. And today it looks like it's trying to reclaim that. I've got that value here at 58.16. Current price here, 56.46. So VKTX may be the start of putting in a bottom after stop hunting some of those. No positions here, but this is definitely still one that I'm watching. Ticker VKTX.
I think with Zim, if we do get another move up from this 23 handle that we just crossed over and came back in, if we get a pop over 23 and it runs a bit, I think that would be the time to sell and wait for another setup, because it's getting pretty extended up here. I see there's going to be one more EMA crossing the VWAP to possibly push that up. But once that happens, I think it's going to cool off, and we're going to come back in to probably about 22.50 at the earliest. Maybe even lower at 21.50. I'm not exactly sure how low it'll go, but I think the next, if it gets one more big volume pop, that's going to be the one to sell and wait for it to come back in. That's just what I think.
You've been spot on Zim for a while, so appreciate that. By the way, ASTS here, this really kind of coiling here on this 3-minute. This looks like this is going to break one direction here. My gut tells me if we snap 940 here, we probably go a little bit higher. Ticker ASTS. STFU, you're saying you had weird halts on this earlier. It makes you a little bit nervous. There goes 940 on ASTS. You know what? I actually might try a little bit of this here. Let's see if we go higher. ASTS right here. Going to try some at 941. If this pulls back here, we'll probably just stop out of it. But I think that this probably tries to go higher. A little bit of size there at 950. That would be the first thing to take out. We'll see if this volume can expand here. ASTS. Watch that, and 945 might start setting this here. We'll see on ASTS.
It will take quite a bit of volume to get through all these orders here in the 9 handle. So we're going to have to really see some volume. Otherwise, I think it'll probably end up getting rejected.
Here we are. There we go at 945. Let's see if we can move here. Next spot, I'm going to have just every 5 cents, basically 950, 955 here on ASTS. The interesting, they actually just brought in a big seller that they re-ate that 946. Let's see if this goes higher here. Perfect move here would be to 961. We'll definitely lighten there. This is just a scalp to the upside. The other thing here, 13, is that one of the things that we've been doing. I'm just too close here. Definitely don't want this to necessarily fall out of bed on me here. So 940 break will be out of this.
Okay. All right. So looking for Zim's volume to expand because we might be getting that last big pop that I was mentioning. That's the thing I think we need to be mindful of.
I'll
GME,
let you know. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say GME starting to reverse off of the VWAP area there. We'll see if it's going to try to take out that 3075.
Real quickly here, Robert mentioning that after this little switch here, balances were different. I can't even imagine how annoying that would be. Definitely reach out there. Eva saying that happened to me, but customer service was able to resolve it. That takes precedent over trading, at least in my opinion. If those balances aren't correct and all that, I mean, put trading on hold for a sec and get that figured out here. Real quickly, just as kind of an update here, I've been watching Chewy all day here. This is really encouraging action here. Market has actually kind of been weak since the open. Chewy is going higher. It looks like the dips are getting bought here. We actually just set a new high here on Chewy, so doing pretty good. So far, I've done a good job staying in those calls and paying ourselves on the way up on that. We'll see if ASTS gets rolling here. Would love for this to move a little bit more. Come on, 950. Let's fall there. Fall there.
Really need big volume in this one, I think, in order to get that through that 960. So we need to see that extend.
Look at Nvidia. DJF's Nvidia going for 1,200. It's only $2.50 away. We're probably going to hit that here. Let's see. ASTS, are we going? Nope. Looks like we tried. Looks like we tried to go to that 1050 or 950. Yeah. Excuse me.
GME looks like it's going to try to get back into the 30 handle though. Zim now starting to stall off after we had a slight push higher into the 23 handle. Now it's back under 22.
Stopped out of ASTS, so that scalp was actually smaller. I was hoping that was going to run a little bit more. Put a really kind of a defensive stop in there. Bummer we didn't get that though. We'll see if we still get it here. ASTS.
It might be just a little bit early.
Which is okay. That's fine too. NVV, I just wanted to try something here. I don't feel great about the day trade setups. And here's the thing, like I've told you guys for years at this point now, I'd rather swing trade. That's what I'm having success with. My swing account's up nicely here today. I've been stopped out of one trade for a small loss on the day trading account. So I'm going to keep focusing on what works here. I do appreciate all of the extra buying power so I can try out some of these day trades. But market, it's been kind of tough for the day trading strategy that I've been on. Yeah,
hasn't been really that great for most day trades. Yesterday was much better, it seemed. But, there's still been names that have been providing trades. I'm sure there's been some winners been caught, but it doesn't seem like it's just really extending into the later half of the day.
Real quickly here, Wiss mentioning Eswin here. This volume is expanding. This is the type of stuff that we like to see here. This one was not on my radar. Wiss, I am sure that you were mentioning Eswin. Yeah, I'm scrolling back here. The poor guy is probably like, can they see me? Am I banned? I've been mentioning this for a while, and no one even brought it up. I'm sorry, Wiss. Breakouts have been rough lately. So Aura Alpha, this is exactly one of the things that I've been trying to say. The day trading strategy that I've been able to lean on for a number of years is basically just trading upside breaks, right? And a lot of the times when you have those upside breaks, you're getting momentum that carries the stock behind it. It actually makes the trading fairly easy. It's easy to identify those levels. It's easy to identify if a stock's got flow. And then ultimately speaking, if you have a plan in there, even if it doesn't break out, you end up taking either no loss, depending on your entry, or a very, very small loss, and it's easier to claw back. That has changed. That actually changed in early 2023 and has not come back. As a result, I've tried to alter my process, and I've been met with varying levels of success from that. But the one thing that's been constant is the swing trades, and again, those are on bigger better, more well-known companies, that has what's kept me afloat. I mean, look at S1 continue to go here. Okay, Wes, you're going to have to get a register ring for this one. We literally left. This is absolutely spiking here. Really good stuff.
Yeah, and ASTS, this is going to golden cross here in a number of days, but it is very extended. The RSI is over 80. So if we do get some more, movement, let's say it goes up to 10 and comes back in, that actually be some pretty good news for this. It's going to probably end up having to come back in anyway because of how extended it is. But once it does, that might be an opportunity to go long, since ASTS is the one that's been getting the deals with Verizon and AT&T for their satellite coverage in the rural areas, kind of like SpaceX does.
Pull back here to VWAP on that. A 925's got some bids here. We'll see if that actually cracks here. Sometimes your first stop is your best stop. Look, you just talked about this maybe going to 10 first and then pulling back. That would have been ideal for the day trade scalp that I had tried to put myself in there. Did not work out, but that, again, that's okay. Very, very, very small. Okay.
GME 30.
That was a nice bounce off that VWAP pull. Didn't quite get there, but got down towards there. Really, really good stuff here on GME. Probably should have tried trading this one. Can't even believe I'm saying that, but it's true. MFI is still beneath its VWAP. We'll see if that curls back up there. I'm not sure I believe that one yet. SYTA lost its VWAP. ASNS, this one, not ASTS, but ASNS. This one also was on the list here this morning. Boy, oh boy, what a disappointment this has been.
Yeah, no problem, Carmen. And I think that ASTS is going to end up being pretty good, but on the technical side, it is very extended. So I think it would be super healthy if it just came in a bit, maybe down into the 7 handle or so, maybe 7 or 6 handle, and then found a bottom and went back up. I think that would be probably the healthiest thing that stock could have for more upside. Well, GME got to 30 and said, "Okay, thank you. Let's call it."
AMC, very, very similar chart formation here as GME.
And GME could keep going, but I don't know what the price actually got to 30, and I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked a lot about these round numbers really being in play here. I mean, look, that just kind of went above it, and we just yanked beneath it here. I would imagine if this stabilizes at all, you probably have another push towards these day high here. I've got that at 30.79. This is not out of the question by any means here today on GME.
Bitcoin fell down to underneath that support level I had at 70,640, and it's now recovered. Some of those Bitcoin names are rising with it. I'm looking to see if this can actually recapture that morning high that it had of 71,360. So kind of watch that to see if we start to get the price action. The first thing I want to see is if we can start holding above that 70,640 and have that be support again. If that's the case, then some of those Bitcoin names are going to be attractive.
HIMS here, good mention. Really good action here on HIMS. Looks like it kind of consolidated a little bit. This is going higher here. Yesterday, this dipped, ripped, and went higher. Looks like it's doing that again here. Yeah, the Bitcoin trading, I'll be honest, just straight up, I'm not good enough to trade Bitcoin. I am definitely a Bitcoin believer. I also own Ethereum. For me, the strategy there is HODL, though. I've got, a small amount of my portfolio in it. Even if it went to zero, I'd be disappointed, especially since I've said how much I like Bitcoin and how much of a believer I am. But financially, it wouldn't affect my life if it went to zero. However, if it continues to go ham and really goes crazy, it would affect my life positively. Definitely a Bitcoin bull, but man, I don't trade the back and forth stuff. I guess I'm the Tim Melvin of Bitcoin, right? I'm just going to hold stuff that I think is really, really strong and undervalued.
There we go. ASTS coming in, which is fine. We need to see that.
Hey, your first stop is your best stop. We were playing for a move right to the top. We didn't get it. We identified, hey, if this rolls over here, your trade setup ain't going to work. As a result, we took a paper cut.
Yeah, I agree with Jay Rice. ASTS is legit, especially if they're going to have AT&T and Verizon, pay them for their services. So yeah, I agree with that. I think ASTS is going to be good. I'm really going to be maybe considering this once it comes back in a little bit, and we see that RSI, kind of flip down to not being so overbought. But Bitcoin, I traded Mara a bunch yesterday, just watching the price action on Bitcoin. Or I'm sorry, not Mara, CLSK. I traded that based on the price action of Bitcoin. So I think watching Bitcoin, if you're going to be trading those names, really, really helps. You often see the potential direction of where the stock's going to go after you see what Bitcoin does. So if you're on it, then you'll probably end up doing well. That's what I was one of the things I was doing in addition to trading MLGO yesterday.
1550, pretty good support level there on CleanSpark, identified very, very clearly on the 1 hour chart. Jonathan's asking, do you hold MSTR, which is MicroStrategy? No. So this is actually a good question, though. My Bitcoin exposure is completely separate from my stock exposure, and that's by design, by the way. For those of you that have ever seen like a really big like market sell-off and a panic, sometimes stuff that I have that I am intending to hold for a long time, I separate just so I can't make a mistake or make a panic reaction. Long-term Apple investment that is now split multiple times in a different account. I don't want to have access to that. I don't want to be able to make a knee-jerk reaction. Bitcoin, that is in my Coinbase account. As far as the Bitcoin stocks, I don't actually hold those. I'll trade those in some cases if there's a setup for it. But that I don't hold those. That's not where my exposure is. So no, I have none of MicroStrategy. Good morning, Easy Mike. It is great to see you. Thanks for joining us, my man.
Riot might be turning around. It's kind of curling, and that short report only knocked it down about $1. So
that was 10%, right? Because this is about a $10 stock, got knocked down $1. We're down. Oh no, you know what? I beg your pardon. We were actually under that. I'm sorry. Down about 7.75%, 7.75%.
Yeah. So it's looking like it's turning around. I don't know how high it will recover today, but and I haven't read that short report either, so I don't know what's in there. But as we've seen with some of these short reports, they don't tend to be too legit, and the stock ends up doing really well following their sell-off on that news.
I am actually going to go over that short report when we get off the air here. I'm going to get some steps and some exercise, but I'm actually going to read that. If you want 13, maybe this is something that we should talk about in happy hour today. Absolutely. For any of you out there, maybe we can break down that Riot short report. Jay brought up a really good point earlier. Maybe we should be doing these on some of these short reports. We did that a little bit on Boot. We had some opinions in both directions. We had some really good information about their overhead, but that stock resolved higher, and the reality is that short report was absolutely a potential trade there. And so maybe we'll do the same thing here with Riot. I'd be happy to share what we discussed tomorrow morning.
Trying to think of what that company was where a lot of us read that short report and thought, nah, and we went in on it. It was before Boot. Trying to think what it was, though. Yeah, I thought you might be able to remember, but if not, it's fine. Not important.
Which one? The short report before Boot?
There was a company that had a short report that came out. Maybe it was Inod.
Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it?
I think it was.
What were the deals surrounding it, or the details? The deals.
Oh, that the company was a complete scam. And,
yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the Inod. They were basically saying that it was financial engineering and they weren't actually doing AI stuff for these customers. Inod
doing much better.
CEO doesn't really talk a whole lot, but
yeah,
the stock price did the talking for him. The earnings that were blowout earnings, the move higher here, that did the talking for him, frankly. By the way, let's take a look here at the SPY. I know we've talked about quite a bit of stuff here. SPY was looking weak. I know it was up in the pre-market, but right out of the open, we kind of sold off. We're higher now on the SPY. Mm-hmm. We are higher here now on the SPY. So,
and just to reiterate that level.
By the way, look at you, dude. These dips are getting bought 13. I'm out here loving this, dude. Loving it.
A little bit nervous about all the dips getting bought. Was everybody bullish now?
Hey, we don't got time. We don't got time to be bearish, dude. The bears get run over. I mean, I'm sorry. I guess I should be more clear that I'm kind of being
That's what the bears want everybody to be, is bullish.
Yep.
Because then then the shorts will do much better. So yeah, just wait to see what happens. AST is showing weakness. Oh, and Boyle's gone. Yeah, natural gas has been great this week.
ASTS looks like maybe another leg lower here.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, like I said, this thing needs to come in. It's probably not gonna come in to where it needs to today. I'll just pull up a chart and give you an idea of where I thought that was. I thought I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, here. While you do that, I'm gonna step away for just 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Sure.
I got the ASTS chart up for you, so don't worry about it.
Okay. So with ASTS, because it's still over 80 RSI on the daily, despite the price action that we're getting right now. I think that somewhere between the 7 and 6 handles, somewhere in between there, we might find the bottom. I think that'd be really good for a pullback to get back into the ASTS. I still like the technical setup, showing that there's more bullishness in going forward with that golden cross. We had a silver cross back in the middle of May that sent this thing up in a parabolic manner. I think, yeah, as long as we can get some significant pullback, I think this would be a really good move down for the stock. NVAX is a rope. Let's see if we can climb it. And this thing has just been doing pretty good all day.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries. Just taking a look at NVAX. It's just only 2 red candles on the 5-minute chart that I can see. Other than that, it's made about almost $5 move since it opened. Let's look at some of these other names. Looks like MLGO is
NVAX.
done.
What a move here.
Zim pulled back to the 280 level, and now it's trying to take out that 2308. Not quite sure I'm convinced on that one yet. It looks like it still wants to roll over.
How was that? What was that? LPA? What was that crazy? Yeah, LPA. Oh my God, this went to $45.
Oh, is
Dude,
this that?
Yeah, this is that one. Remember, we first took a look at this. It was like $5.20 in the after hours, $45 here.
I mean, if that's if this is the emerging market type of play that we want to be paying attention to, look into what this company does, because logistics parks in emerging economies or growing economies apparently is a big deal. So there's some trades to be had there. It looks like we're getting some more. It looks like it's also halted for some reason. Well,
I mean, it always looks like that. Yeah, it's so thin. It always looks like that. I don't have. Let me see if I have a report here. ASNS 10 halt. Yeah, LPA. No, this is good call. This is actually had 3 halts here today. This looks like this was halted to the downside here on LPA.
I wonder how many halts it got yesterday. Oh man,
a ton, dude. That thing was all over the place yesterday. ASNS halted a whole bunch.
Yeah, that thing. This looks like all it's been doing today is just get halted.
Let me see if I can find yesterday. Here's yesterday's. LPA had 11 halts yesterday. I would just so much rather avoid those stocks. I'll be honest with you.
Looks like Palantir might end up coming down maybe into the lower 22 handle.
NVVE here looks like it's holding its VWAP. This might be a spot here. Let's take a look at that Palantir. This also coming back into the VWAP on Palantir.
It looks like it's kind of putting in an intraday head and shoulders, but we'll see if that's what's happening. The neckline would kind of be down in the $22.25 level.
And VRTX, Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Does anyone follow this one? This has been a really good move off 400. That happened from April till now. This is about 80 points. Nice little move there. Looking around at some other stuff.
Yep. Okay, what else?
Bitcoin bounced back to 71.5.
Now, happy that we're trading both ASNS and ASTS.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that either. I'm glad you said that because I don't like that. I don't like when tickers are so close and then they're both in play. I feel like that's just adding a potential for me to make a big mistake there.
Oh, every time that that conversation piece comes up, I'll never forget Stellantis and Tesla.
Yeah. And they're Tanzania Life Sciences, right? TLSA and TSLA. Robert closed out his SMCI here. I know you were asking about us this yesterday. Nice little move here on that
great.
SMCI call. Good stuff there. Glad you booked that. Those are gains booked. MITQ, this holding in here, but VWAP resistance clearly.
So LPA unhalted, and then it was immediately halted again. Because we went from 45 to 59.29, and then halted again. So have fun with that one if you're going to trade.
Yeah, that's not for me.
You'll be waiting most of the time.
First Solar is putting in another move here. Remember, Anne-Marie put an options trade on First Solar yesterday. Nvidia, did we get that 1200 yet, DJF? Did we actually print 1200? Not quite, but boy, we got close. That might still be on deck here. Woof, what do you think of Woof? Nice little move here today. I'm not sure what's going on. Good morning, Smoke Tuna. Boy, you must have a meeting or something. You've been skipping out on us for most of the morning here, last several days. Hope everything's well on your end, Tuna. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, what is everybody seeing?
Wolf is on my short squeeze list. Let me get that short interest for Wolf. Okay. Short interest here, 32.36%. Days to cover, 5.58. Definitely high short interest there on Wolf.
That's probably why it's moving today.
Yeah. And I mean, like if we look at a daily chart here, look at this recently. So the move off the bottom here on Wolf recently, this was like a 150-ish bottom. Don't forget, we also had the Chewy earnings in there, which were really, really good. And I think on the day that happened, we talked about Jay Rice. Actually, I think it was you that said that Chewy earnings might be beneficial for Wolf here. Well, this stock is higher from that. This stock is higher. Wasn't that right in here? Let me check that real fast. Chewy, those earnings.
Pets are the play, it seems.
529 indeed. So,
and I'm still kind of mulling, if that whole thought I had on why pets are in is if the consumer tightening isn't going to lead to people giving up their pets for adoption. They're just going to, they're still part of the family. They're still going to spend money on them. They just might not, pamper them or splurge on them like they may have when money was, not so tight. That's a thought anyway. I don't know.
Like I said to you before, for me, like this is just no contest. Like I would go hungry before my animals go hungry. I know you're talking about, more extravagant purchases, and that's all well and good. Real quick here, Jay mentioning, here's what I think of Wolf. If they can rip SFIX, they can rip Wolf. So Jay's saying here, let's take a look at that SFIX chart. Let's bring that up here real quick. Here you go. This is what Jay is talking about. This is a daily chart here. You can see the rip that we have here on Stitch Fix. Gapped it up in the after hours, taking another leg up here today. This is actually doing a good job of holding above those highs here. Jay saying the same thing can happen here on Wolf. And don't forget, if you think about a relationship between Chewy and Wolf, Chewy up 3% here today. All dips getting bought. This thing, no trouble.
Yeah, let's see what Wolf does up here. I don't know that it may go much higher than 425 unless we get a big old, buyer to come in and start pushing it up. But that was 2 days ago. That was the intraday high on Monday. Was 224. So I think that level up there might be a problematic for going higher. We'll have to wait and see. Riot, by the way, that one really did turn around. It's back into the 9 handle and coming up to VWAP.
Macau saying, you're welcome, LMAO. I've been on this for a while and it hit my levels. Okay, so it looks like you took gains there right here. Awesome. Well, I thought you were looking at this for more of like another trade or what's going on here, but you're just using that to close it out. Good stuff.
I like the pet love in here.
The what?
The pet love.
Oh yeah, I mean,
They're sharing some pretty good stories.
Am I missing good pet stories? Darn.
Oh, that's Jeff Hughes. To whom made concern? If my cats eat me after I go, please don't blame them. Just give them food and let it go.
Oh, gotcha. I gotcha.
That's pet love, man. It's right there. MLGO just got a pop in volume. It's back over the 8 handle for the moment. Let's see if this gets going.
Really, still hasn't got above its VWAP yet, though.
Nope, it hasn't. So just be careful with that one. But I just saw that mild pop.
and has halted again, this time to the upside. Oh my god.
Okay, so Wolf is almost at that level I mentioned. So let's see what happens when we get there. If we get the breakout, or if it reverses and comes back in, and if it does come back in, maybe 410 could be a possible support area. ASTS fallen right out of bed. This is what we need to see.
Yeah.
If you're in this, I'm sorry to say that, but this is when I think we need to wait for it to come in, because the daily is showing that it's very extended.
ATY or VTYX here. This is actually having a pretty nice move here today to the upside. STFU mentioning my ex-girlfriend Huma. This really sold off yesterday. This right back to balance here today.
ANNX looks like it's about to break its intraday highs. Still hasn't got above the pre-market high of 666.
What was the ticker?
Sorry? ANNX.
ANNX, right. That was from this morning. Gotcha. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, Carmen. I'm glad that worked out.
HPE, we talked about that earlier on the back of those earnings. This really hasn't taken another leg. Looks like the high print was in the after hours yesterday. That kind of a bummer there. We didn't get any more movement on that. MFI really staying under the VWAP pretty much all day. ACHR appearing on the relative volume scanner. This is a stock that I am massively underwater on, but I have such a small position I almost don't even care. Bought 100 shares just to watch it and added 50 shares a little bit later on.
Yeah, and
it's a Cappy name too, isn't it?
It is. And one of the things that I mentioned a while back with this one is that they aren't necessarily a profitable company, but they are getting a lot of deals and certifications. They're just in the process of ramping up the business, getting everything all set up. They've got deals in South Korea. They've got deals in Dubai. So it looks like this is going to end up happening for the company. It's just, if you're going to get into this now, you have to understand you need to be patient, because they're not turning that profit yet. So that could be a while. I think I even mentioned that 2025 is when they expect to start really, expanding everything out and start generating profit.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
That's one I got plenty of time on. I'm interested in that concept. I think we're a ways off on that. I got plenty of time there.
And I've been buying the weakness too. So
which is smart.
Ollie here, off 3 too. Sorry,
Ollie here. Big move. This actually looks like this is going for 90. This reported earnings here this morning. Also had a conference call here this morning. Ollie, big move here. That's Ollie's bargain outfit. Looks like that's going for 90.
Market Sniper asking, what's going on with all the blank check stocks moving lately? So I guess I'll take a quick stab at this. And
okay. And by the way, blank check, he's also referring to SPACs.
Yeah. We saw SPACs really move in 2021. And there was a lot of speculation going on at that time too. So I think that's also what's happening right now, is there's a lot of speculation in the market. We're probably seeing a lot of that with how volatile these moves are in some of these low float stocks. The thought of maybe interest rates getting cut sooner than later is still on the minds of a lot of market participants. So I think that the increase in appetite for risk is why you're seeing these SPACs move so much more. It's very similar to how the risk appetite risk was around in 2021. It also helped these move a lot. So I think that's mostly what we're seeing. And if anybody else has any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear that too. But I think it's because of just the appetite for risk at the moment.
Really good breakdown there. David Lynn mentioning that Boeing Starliner just watched. They're actually showing a clip of this on CNBC, NASA live television. I don't see anything breaking up and blowing up, so that's a really good sign.
That reminds me, Starship, SpaceX's Starship launches tomorrow. They got their FAA flight license late last night. They originally were planned to launch today, but that got moved out because they hadn't obtained that license yet. They just got it, so 6 at 8 Eastern is the planned time for the launch tomorrow, unless something changes.
UFO Alien 1970. You might literally have my favorite handle of all time with that one. Good morning, new here. Love the stream. Good morning. Welcome. We love to have you here. Mm-hmm. And we love to hear that you love the stream. That is really awesome.
We'll try to give you as much helpful information as we can. A lot of things are just kind of like chilling out at the moment. A little bit sideways. GameStop looks like it still wants to try to go back into the 30 handle, but it's the volume's really slowed down. Same thing with it's everything that we're trading right now. It looks like the volume has just really slowed down.
Yeah,
and it's not a whole lot of trades being, a lot of setups being provided. What is everybody else looking at right now?
I'm looking at Boeing Starliner here. That's actually looking pretty good. Jonathan, Ryan, what's the story when a stock gets added to SPY? Is that a sell the news? Just wondering, as MSTR should be looking to move soon. So I generally think that a stock added to one of these indexes that everyone knows about, like the Dow, the SPY, or even the IWM for some of these smaller stocks, I think that's a net positive, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're going to have funds and that are weighted specifically in a lot of these stocks. And I would imagine if one of these moved from not being in there to being in there, there's likely going to be an allocation process where some of the funds or the, firms end up buying this stock. So on the surface, without any other information here, I got to think that this is on average a net positive. What about you, 13? What do you think about that? Or anyone else in the chat for that matter?
When it gets announced that they're doing that, usually that initial move tends to be the better one. But I still think that you will get some short-term bullishness when the purchase, the ETF purchase actually does happen. But I think the bigger move happens when it gets announced that it's going to be joining. I think that's just the way I see it. I think that the bigger move happens on the sell. It's kind of like a sell the news event, when it gets announced. If you're looking and thinking, wow, this is a company that could enter such and such index because of X, Y, and Z, then take a position if you think it's going into the index and sell it when it gets announced. It's a little bit more of a nuance to do that than trading it after it's announced. But just how about how you're going to try to play that. I don't think you're going to get the big move after it's been announced, though. I think that happens when it gets announced.
UFO Alien, you were asking about Cisco. So here, let's bring this up here real quick. Cisco, first of all, Piper reiterates neutral, maintains a $52 target. Don't really see a whole lot of anything else in here. Yesterday we had a PR. Yesterday, Tuesday, June 4th. Cisco down almost 4% here today, over 3.5%. Rough day here for CSCO. Anyone got anything for our UFO Alien here? I can't. I mean, I'm not trying to call you that, but that's literally what your handle is here. This is not one. This kind of ugly, honestly. This looks like it's really trying to break a pretty decent support level here. Don't really see a whole lot of news driving this down. NASDAQ is up. Is the SPY still green? Let me check. Yeah, SPY still green, Dow still green. This kind of going against the market here. I'm not sure what's going on with this. Ugly day, though.
Yeah.
Ugly day here.
Trying to look around and seeing what's going on with this. It's not that. Let's take a look at the chart and see what kind of price action we've been getting these days. So it looks like 46. I have a line here on CSCO that 46 was a big support level. and we're losing that. I think that's what this whole reason for me putting that level in here was. Yes. Okay. All right. I think I see what's going on here, because I did some charting on this a while back, not sure when, but if you look at a longer time frame, let's go to a week. Go to a weekly chart and take a look at the price action from 2017 till now. What do you see?
Okay, let's go ahead and get that up here. I see a lot of chop, dude. I see a lot of just
What's
kind of
that
moving.
pattern that you see there?
This kind of looks like a, this I would say is a shoulder and a head and then a shoulder.
Yep.
So
there you go.
There you go.
We're getting a resolution of a bearish pattern. That would be my best guess as to why we're seeing this price go down on seemingly no news. This kind of a resolution of a pattern. Now, if this is going to continue to resolve, I'm afraid we have a date with 40 and maybe lower.
There's nothing wrong with 40-year-olds.
No, I don't think. Of course
either.
not. I mean, I'm 40.
Sure.
There's nothing. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm glad that you're breaking this news here, Zunaid. Of course.
You said, we might have a date with 40 or old, lower. I can't comment on the younger part. But anyway, awkward transition. Futures fever coming up right now. 13. Ryan, any final thoughts?
I mean, look, after that intro and like popping, Zunaid, I'm just going to turn this over to you. I'm not even sure how I'm going to be able to top that. Good luck on futures.
I appreciate it.
Good luck on futures fever. We'll see you tomorrow at 13.
Take care. I'm going to go see what's up with those 40-year-olds.
Yeah, Zunaid, man, oh man. Good luck.
See ya. What is up, chat? I saw a couple of people say they are new here. I'm curious. Yeah, I think someone else asked you in the chat. Are you new to trading? Or are you new to Benzinga? Either way, we welcome you. The show that's about to happen right now is called Futures Fever. It is sponsored by Apex. Apex is an evaluation form company in terms of the future side of things. So you can go ahead and sign up. They've got 90% off promo codes right now. Use a promo code FEVER, F-E-V-E-R. It lets them know that we're helping their business out. And pretty much I have a Futures Fever account, an Apex account. I paid for it myself, right? So here it is. I hope you guys can see my screen a bit. Matter of fact, let me full screen this puppy. Pop, there you go. So anything that says PA on it, as you can see, like these, and anything on the bottom are evaluations that I have passed personally, right? Just like I was a random John or Jane Doe on the street, and I've paid for them, and I've paid for the funded account itself as well. So I am up about 1,500 on one of them. I'm up about 500 on the other, and everything else on the bottom here is kind of break even. So what we're going to try to do is, by the way, I am in AMC, not through Apex, but obviously my own funded shares. Let me see what my average price there is. Oops, excuse me. Give me 1 second. What was I about to show you guys? Oh, yeah, my trading position. So don't know if you guys can see it, but I am in for 1,000 shares of AMC at an average price of $5.05. So AMC to the moon. Let's get it. Not financial advice, SEC. Please don't come after me. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some futures and what's happening back there. In the futures world, you also have, ooh, hello there. 1 moment. Let me see if there's a trading opportunity here. You know what? I think there might be. We're going to give it a shot, y'all. Here we go. We're going to share. We're going to All right, we are in for 2 contracts on the ES, and simply because this previous line was resistance, I am hoping with a bunch of hopium, which is legal, but not great for you still, that we will go ahead and just kind of come down and not pop over. This is a quick little scalp if I can get it, but if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong quick, and I'm risking about $250. Is this real money? Is this fake money? The way that I like to look at evals and funded accounts is that it's a kind of in between, right? I have passed their eval process, which I paid, by the way, like $25 to get the chance to do it. Then when I passed it, I paid $165 for their lifetime access to the funded account. I get $2,500 worth of drawdown for an overall money commitment of $200. To me, that's awesome. I love that. It helps me with my mental when I'm trading because I can just have a conversation with you guys without worrying that my money is kind of at risk. It just helps me with my mental when I trade. So anyway, looked at the chart, liked what I saw. We're going to go ahead and trade it. We'll see if it works out. We've got about a couple of points to go before our profit taking has been committed. Something that I need to set up, and I'm on a Mac right now, I'm not on a PC, is their copy trader. So pretty much, as I showed y'all, I have so many funded accounts with them that I don't want to individually continue placing these trades. So you can do a copy trader where you place it on one account and it copies that trade across all your funded accounts as well. That's something I need to set up. Life's been busy. That's the excuse that I'm going with in terms of being a full-time worker. And of course, as I keep talking, I am now in a losing position. I may get stopped out. But you know what? If it does happen, that's okay. I have my stop losses. I knew what my risk tolerance on this trade was. If it doesn't work out, you should have faded me and you would have made some money. But we've got about another maybe couple of ticks, couple of points here before we get stopped out. But at least I want you to kind of recognize why I took this trade and I did get stopped out. So that's $250 on the L side, is because you had this area that was kind of as resistance. And now that I go to the 4 hour, it's not a clean resistance area, right? So I'm going to kind of take this puppy out and we'll see what the next one is. The next one to me, you're looking at about right here. Call it right there. So we'll see if it wants to go ahead and tag 53.39 to the upside on that one. Let's see if we got anything on the NQ, any opportunities there. Okay, this is a fun one. This could be interesting. Let's take a look up to the left a little bit. By the way, for those of you that are new, something on this show is that we trade. We trade live. We trade in front of you. This is not delayed. It is 11:05 market time on June 5th, Wednesday, hump day. And whether I win, whether I lose, I will always be transparent. You will always see it. And we also can talk about stocks as well. So let me actually go ahead and place this one trade. I don't want to sell 3 contracts. I want to sell 1. And I want to risk about $300. $300. I think that should go ahead and help me out here. See if I can get a quick scalp. Man, the thing about the NQ is it moves so quick and so fast that sometimes you just have to go to the micros instead of the minis. You just got to go to the micros. Maybe that's what I need to do. But I do have actually a bigger account to play with. Where is it? This one. This is my big $300,000 account, which gives me a drawdown of approximately 7,500, give or take. So I might actually play around with this one and see if we can get a trade out of it. But I'm going to wait to see if we can hit this area and then risk 500 to make 500. I promise I'll take a look at Nvidia. I know people are saying that's about to break the 1200. Let's go to Nvidia. Look at that. New highs, baby. Are we going to go ahead and break to the upside or not on 1200? So if Nvidia is moving, what opportunities do we have in the markets? What do you guys think? Do we break 1200 or do we think we kind of come on crack down? It's made higher highs so far in the past 30 minutes. You can look at these candles. You got 1 higher high, 2 higher high, 3 higher high. Obviously, yes, this as well. But I'm kind of considering these 3 on this one. Looks like it wants to break 1200. No trade for me this one already. But again, another reason that you see this push in the markets happening to the upside as well. So we've got our trade set out. We've got a game plan. Whether we win or lose, we've got a thesis behind it, and that's what we're going to rock with. Man, where is the... I got to find something. Give me 1 sec, chat. By the way, if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know. I'm happy to kind of help out where I can. I'm happy to answer wherever I can. We'll go to a double box. Let's go to a double box. We've got that on one side. We've got Nvidia on the other. And that's what we're watching. Get it on the 15-minute. Get it here. Skibbity pop pop. Scrap. Couple of bucks away from 1200. If that's gone, then AMD. Hey, look at AMD. It's a bit stronger, up 3%. I think I had levels on AMD that I really liked. Oh, there it is, 172. Still waiting for that thing to break up the upside at 172. We'll see if it happens. Coming back to Nvidia. If Nvidia comes back to VWAP, I think that's a good buy, right? Because you can see this area here held as support, and especially if VWAP is there and it comes down here, I'd be interested to see what happens. I think that's a better buy instead of trying to jumped the gun on a possible break of 1200, in my opinion. What kind of implications would BlackRock opening a new stock exchange in Texas have? I don't know. I don't know if it would work better in terms of routing, in terms of speed. I think you have so many servers, I assume, that are in New York because you have hedge funds and, quants that want that quick transactions happening, right? Like nanoseconds, and whatever is smaller than nanoseconds, you want that transaction to be taken care of because you're fighting with algos left and right. So I assume you would have more companies, kind of set up in Texas, and more servers and more computers and yada, yada, yada. And maybe better rebates. So if you use a broker like TradeZero, who we're working on something special with, hopefully we can talk about it in about a couple of weeks, you'd be able to take advantage of direct routing, maybe get some rebates, save yourself some money if you are a high volume trader. That's what I would assume. And look, they wouldn't do it in a bear market, right? My alarm just went off at 11:10 because we're trying to wish for some money when it comes to 11:11. You know what I'm saying? What do you guys think, chat? Do you think we have big implications, positive or negative? I'm trying to check a couple of my positions here as well. Give me one moment. Come on. I'm curious if this is going to end up holding. All right, let's take a look at crude oil. By the way, now that I'm kind of funded with 8 to 10 accounts, boy, I am really looking forward to hopefully getting a payout by the end of the month. That's kind of what I've been waiting on. Is consistent trades where I'm not letting my emotions get the best of it, because that's kind of what I struggle with sometimes, right? So you lose a trade, especially if I'm losing a trade live on air, it kind of puts a little bit of a different pressure on you to come back. I'm also going to add AMC to this list. Ooh, oh, by the way, Hood is looking nice. If you guys don't remember, I took Hood live on air on the trading show, and it went up about maybe 400%. But now I have January 2025 calls for expiration. I think the strike price $20, and that's up maybe a few percent points. But I really need to break this 22. We got to get above this 22. That's what we're looking at. It's just kind of been going back and forth in this range. I'll take a look at XTIA here in a sec, but would love for AMC to kind of get going. AMC just hasn't kind of broken 4, and I love that. So if we take a look at AMC's chart, every single time it's kind of in this little range, and it pops right back up, which I'm glad to see. But we needed to get to maybe about, let's see what we got here. Well, the gaps have been filled. I don't know if there are any gaps. Call it 652. That seems to be the next area of resistance. Right there. 652. So my target on these shares that I have, the 1,000 shares that I have on AMC, I'm going to scale some around maybe say 549-ish, and then some at 6, and then 652 would be target number 3. Let's go ahead and take a look at SHOT. Shot. Safety shot. Never heard of them. By the way, I'm going to be very non-political about this, but I went to a gun range last week. I got kicked out of one place within a minute. It was the funniest thing. I'll share that story another time. But the second place that I went to was pretty cool. I hadn't gone since, like, I don't know, 7 years maybe. All right, so you're kind of approaching this resistance area here. Right, you can see where was resistance there, acting as resistance here. So 159 is where you got to go. And then above that, you've got $2 psychological number that you want to keep an eye on. Which range in Atlanta did I go to? There's one in Sandy Springs, but I went to another one called Quick Shot. It's in Buckhead. I went to Quick Shot. I spent like maybe $160. I shot like a AK-47. It was a $35, round, I guess. And I sped through that in 3 seconds, and I was like, that is the quickest $35 I have ever spent. I was nervous, though, because, safety first, and I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't, I don't know, it was paranoid, but it was fun. Can't complain. Let's see where other trades are at. All right, we might get filled here in a moment. All right. See, now part of me wants to take a crack at this. Man, do I really? Should I? Can I? Will I? Yes, I will. All right, we're going to come back, and we're going to place another trade. I swear, if I lose twice in a row on stream, especially to the new folks that are at home, they're going to think I'm the biggest loser ever. And I think what my issue here is I'm okay with losing $250, but I'm grabbing 2 contracts, where maybe if I grabbed 1 contract, I would end up winning. See, I hate cursing on air, but I might just have to. I think I need to size down. I think I need to go to 1 contract instead of 2. Because if this position works out, I don't know. Oh, come on, James. Come on. Easy there. Did the guy stand behind you? Dude, yeah, the guy stood behind me, and he also took a video. I don't know if that was just for social media or if, God forbid, in case I was a lunatic and they needed video proof or something. I don't really know, but if you guys are, I'll tell you what, we're a community here, so I'll share this video. But if you guys are not a fan of guns or you don't like the content, I suggest you close your eyes for the next 30 seconds. Because I want to be respectful to everybody that's, part of this. Okay, I'm going to show the video. So again, if you're not a fan of it, I suggest you close your eyes. All right, here it is.
Select the switch all the way back. Yep. There we go.
And that was it. And that was $35 in a matter of a second and a half. Come on. Well, you guys could, no, you had to, oh. I realized it's because my camera, I didn't, okay, my bad. Let me do it again. Well, what you did see is me take another L. So there's 2. So that's great. I'm just losing money in front of the camera. Okay, I'm going to show it one more time.
All the way back. Yep. There we go.
And that was it. Quickest $35 I've spent in my life. Again, hopefully you guys had enough of a warning that I was going to show that. So if you are offended or you're not a fan of that type of content, I hope I gave you enough time to mute me. It's always tricky, right? Because like I want to be with the community. I want to share things that are happening, but I also want to be respectful of everyone's beliefs, if that makes sense. I also don't want to get fired. You. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. I am 0 for 2. You're not wrong there. But would you say, like, I'm not just taking random interviews though, right? Like I'm not taking random trades. I'm taking trades that are thought out for very good reasons. Something that I might need to work on might be my sizing, right? Because like if this comes back, then my sizing may have been the issue. And what I won't do is I won't get into another contract here. Because then I'm kind of chasing, right? I had a thesis. I went in with the size that I did. I stopped out. And that's okay. And the cool thing is, so on 2 trades that I took, I lost approximately $500. But like, it's a trailing drawdown. So I don't feel like I lost $500, if that makes sense. You know, I swear if this thing is going to come down and I should have just had 1 contract instead of 2, I'm going to be a little upset. I'm going to be a little upset. And see here, we tried to play it safe and had our entry a little bit higher to the 1900s. But if this comes down from here, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be upset no matter what, apparently. They were like, "Hey, do you want to see your target?" And I was like, "No, I didn't really care." Again, I just went because I needed a change of pace with like my hobbies and whatever else, and you know, I've been wanting to go, and then so I went. It was nothing like, you know, I don't own a gun or anything like that. I have nieces and nephews that kind of come hang out here a lot, and I just, even though I can keep them in a safe and yada, 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 I just wouldn't want to take the risk. And I'd like to think I don't have enemies that are going to come after me, you know? Hopefully, if any of you have lost money in the chat because of my trades, you can just send me a very mean email at zunaid@benzinga.com. I'm okay with that. You can do that. Oh, would you look at that? Stop me out. It's coming down. Maybe I should have just had 1 contract instead of 2. Why did I get kicked out? Okay. I'll tell you what time. We have 9 minutes on this show. Let me see what my call schedule looks like. Okay, at 11:30. So in 8 minutes, I will share why I got kicked out, just because I think it's kind of dumb and funny. But I don't want to keep talking about this on a trading show, you know. But chat, let me know. You've seen me lose 2 trades. Is there anything different that you would have done? Right? I'm on the 65-minute. So call it an hour. I'm on the hourly. And I see previous resistance, which is why I went in. One mistake, like I said, I think is I went 1 contract too many, which then limited my risk tolerance to 250. That's one mistake that I think I made. You know, I was actually reading a couple of articles or blog posts or tweets or whatever yesterday, and someone was talking about how they don't believe in stops, or they believe in mental stops and yada, yada, yada. And I used to be that way. And let me just say, look, there's no perfect way of trading, right? It's more of an art than a science to a certain degree. But something that I was kind of proud of myself was I lost a lot of money in 2020 when COVID hit. I've shared that story many times with people. But in the past 2 years, I can't remember a time that I placed a trade without a stop loss. All of my trades have had stop losses, right? Not just mental ones, but they've already kind of programmed in. So I'm kind of happy with myself there. Do I use RSI? No, I do not use RSI. The only thing that I use is VWAP, and I kind of take a look at volume, and that's about it. I do not look at RSI. Because there's so many things you can look at, right? There's the RSI, there's a MACD, there's a mac and cheese, and whatever else. And it's just like, don't get me wrong. I know today's stream doesn't prove it, but I promise I'm a profitable trader. You know, I don't trade full time anymore, but we've got some trading shows and some competitions coming up. So you're gonna see me a lot more. You're gonna see me a lot more. I can promise you that. We've got a lot of cool things happening. I'll just give you guys a teaser. We've got a trading competition that we're going to do in Q4, right? So in about 3 months, but we're going to kick it off in terms of registration and all that stuff. And a couple of the prizes, right? If you guys have ideas, by the way, you can throw them out. A couple of the prizes are going to be like a lifetime Benzinga Pro. I think that's obvious for us to do, right? It's our product, it's our service. Why would we not give something like that to our community? Come on, there we go. Another prize that we're looking at is I think it's a 5 or 7 day cruise that we're looking to give away. A trip to the New York Stock Exchange. Tickets, like good seats to the Pistons, which I know they're not great, but we've also got possibly the same thing for the Lions game as well. So if you're in the Detroit area, if you're going to make the trip, we'll take care of your seats, right? So there's a lot of cool prizes that we're working on for y'all, and it should be fun. I'm excited. And would you look at the wick that might be forming on the 15th? I should have gone in with one contract. Because one contract, 50 points a point, right? I would have gotten in here. Where was it? Let me see what my entry was. I placed a short. Where did I place it? 38s. So I would have been short here. Oh, nope. Hello, excuse me. 38s. I would have been short here, and I would have wanted to risk, I don't know what my stop level is, but 250. What's 250 divided by that? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So I would have wanted to be 5 points, and I would have wanted 5 points. So this is where my trade could have been, but I didn't size it properly. What is this? Oh, hello. Delete that. But because I didn't size it properly, I took an L. So let this be a lesson to all of us, including myself, that sometimes you have to take lower size with your risk tolerance and you might make money. But yeah, we're working on a trading competition. We're also working with another broker, a different one, that has integration with TradingView, similar to how you see me trading with Trade-of-8 on Apex. All right, we've got about 3 minutes here hanging out with me. If you guys have any questions for me, let me know. It could be about charts. It could be about stocks. It could be about futures. It could be about whatever you want. But my one position that I like long-term is Robinhood. And I have January $20 calls. I'm pretty sure it's January. Let me take a look on my E-Trade. Yep, sorry if you guys can see it, but I've got Hood January 17th, 2025 calls. Strike price $20. I paid, my average price is $4.95. I have 3 contracts. And I am up 5%. See, look at that. Yes, I'm doing a leap. Is it technically a leap if it's like 7 months out, 6 months out? I don't know. How long out does it need to be in order for it to be called a leap? Let's Google that. How far out does a contract need to be for it to be called a leap? Longer than a year. So no, I'm not doing a leap. I'm doing half a leap because we have commitment issues. And the reason that I did it January is because then I get 2 more quarters of them reporting good numbers. My targets on this is like, oh boy, 25, I would say, is my first one. Yeah. $25 is my first target on this. And then 30s will be my second one. By the way, if you guys have any feedback for this show, for any other shows, for prizes, for anything you want to see content-wise from Benzinga, you can always email me at zunaid@benzinga.com. I check my emails every single day or else I would get fired. My email address is in the chat. You're more than welcome to, send stuff my way. By the way, you also were working on a sports betting show with a prop bet company as well, because I tell people all the time, I like to make or lose money in the markets during the day. I like to do the same thing at night. So keep an eye out for that show. If you guys are interested, we'll call it. We'll let you know. I'm hoping. I know NBA Finals are coming up, right? Let me do this. You know what? I'm going to have some fun with this. Okay. It's 11:30, so we're officially done with our Futures Fever show. I highly, highly recommend Apex, right? I know there's a lot of things happening in the prop firm world. Do your own due diligence. At the end of the day, it's your hard-earned money that you're putting to work. It's not mine. I have done my due diligence. I have made a decision to give them my money, to pass the eval, to give them my money, to have a funded account, right? So do your own due diligence, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I say. You got to make an informed decision. But I think it helps me mentally when I trade to have a prop firm for my futures trading. No question about it. It really does. And maybe I should have taken that trade. I don't know. So check out Apex. They've got a 90% off sale going on right now. We'd love for you to use the promo code FEVER. If you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me at zunaid@benzinga.com. Doesn't matter if it's a sponsored show. You will always get your questions answered properly and appropriately as well. All right. Now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and maybe place a couple of like a sports betting situation. Let me see here. Can I? Yeah, let me share my screen. So if you guys want to hop, you guys can. I got you. Give me a second. The description should have the link, chat. Let me know if the description does not have the link. But let me go ahead and get it in case it doesn't. What was I about to do? Oh yeah. Where is the link? All right, here's a link in the chat. So again, do your own due diligence. Check out the reviews. Check out everything. But at the end of the day, I love it because with the 90% off, and you can use that link and use promo code FEVER. You get 90% off a $50,000 eval cost, I think maybe $20, give or take, or something like that. And then you also, if you pass that, right? If you pass that, then you can get a funded account for $105 a month on the $50,000 or $165 for the lifetime of that funded account itself. Now, one thing I will say, read the rules for payouts, because a lot of people will get prop firms and get funded and then just YOLO trades and go through a waterfall of profits, and they're up 10 grand in the day and they'll try to go ahead and cash out. That's not how it works, right? Apex builds itself, and they kind of have restrictive rules. But to me, it's kind of like a parent that knows what's good for you and they want you to make money, but they also don't want people to just use their site as a gambling thing, right? So make sure you take your base hits. They have a 30% rule. Make sure you look into that. You have to trade for 10 days and be a consistent trader to get a payout as well. You can't average into losing positions because, again, there are unfortunately people out there that take advantage of these things just because they try to game the system. If you're trying to game the system, Apex is not for you. You're going to be pissed off and you're going to be like, oh my God, they didn't pay me. Well, because you tried to game the system, right? If you're a profitable, consistent trader, or if you're trying to be, this is who I would trust. But again, do your own due diligence. Don't want anyone to just do something because I'm saying so. All right. Now that that's done, let me go ahead and change. Make sure I have a call. What time is my next call? Next calls. Okay, we're good. All right, I am now going to go into, we'll just call it Benzinga Live. Why not? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. By the way, this is now a betting show, just for fun. If you guys want, you can hop off. If you guys want to hang out, you're more than welcome to. But I'm going to see if we can place a quick bet. By the way, as you can see, this is my personal account, right? I put in $1,000. I'm down $60. I did win yesterday, so I kind of recouped some things. And the way that I look at sports betting is kind of similar to how I look at the stock market. I would say I'm a better sports bettor than I am a stock picker, because in sports betting, the market is not as efficient. So how many of y'all have kind of heard the example of like, oh, when you flip a coin, heads or tails, it has a 50% chance to land on heads and a 50% chance to land on tails, right? What sports betting companies will do is they'll give you minus 110 odds. That means if you want to win $110, or if you want to win $100, you have to lay 110. So say you do that, and say you flip a coin 100 times, and it lands 50% tails, 50% heads. You would think you're breaking even, right? If you just consistently picked heads the whole time. But you're paying an additional $10 every single time to place those bets. So if you've lost 50 times, you've paid them $10 every single time on top of that, which is why you end up being down $500, even though 50% of the times you were correct. That's called the VIG. That's called the juice. What I look for whenever I sports bet is I will look for inefficiencies where instead of me laying 110 to win $100, I am getting $110 by risking $100, right? So it's kind of like, hey, the odds of this happening are 53%, but I'm getting paid as if the odds of this happening are 57% or whatever the case may be, excuse me, I said it backwards. I am betting on lines where the actual odds of something happening are 57%, but it's priced at 53, so I'm getting better odds than I typically would. But all right, I'm going to place a quick bet and then I'll hop off here. By the way, if you guys are interested in something like that, just type in underdog in the chat, right? So if you guys want to see content, this will be a whole separate show, right? I'm just kind of teasing what I would like to do with y'all. But if you're interested in a show similar to this, type in underdog, right? Just spam the chat. That would be great. So I can reach out to the reps and say, hey, look, our people are interested in something like this. Okay. I'm going to see if I can quickly build a slip in front of y'all for some trades. Birdies under 4. I'm going to place these trades and I'll tell you exactly why I took them as well. I'm going to risk $50. Confirm. Corey, Birdie, please remove. Oh, okay. So they just took that one off. See, these lines move quickly too. So you got to be quick. You got to be quick and fast with it. All right, cool. Place the trades. So let me go ahead and wait, shut up. No way. Wait, no way. Really? Hold on. Let me ping AB. What? All right, I just hit up AB. I know he's doing a lot of other work. But all right, that's pretty sick. That is pretty sick. Okay, let me explain to you why I took this trade or why I took this bet. Okay, you can see that I placed a $50. Here, let me kind of. Okay, you can see that I placed a $50 slip, right? A $50 entry. I'm gonna call it a trade, whatever. To get 300 back. Now that 300 is not profit, so I have to do 300 minus the $50, which means I'm going to make a profit of 250 if these three things come true. Okay. And the reason that I took it is because let's start with here. Let me actually, I'll kind of give you an example. I will give you an example. Let me just load up the stats. Let's go to baseball. Let's go to Houston. So sports betting is all, even in the markets, right? It's all about odds. It's all about probability, right? So you'll have people like that'll take trades that they may win them less, but when they win, their R&R is better, right? Their risk to reward is better. So that's kind of how I approach it. So the market, when it comes to Blanco, right? The sports betting market has them at 5.5 strikeouts. I get half a strikeout more than what the market has priced on Blanco. So to me, that's a half a strikeout edge. And how many times, if you guys sports bet, how many times have y'all lost a bet because of a point, because of half a point, because of one basket that went in at the end of the game and it didn't even didn't impact the outcome in terms of wins and losses, but it messed up your spread, it messed up your over-under, right? So you know how crucial it can be, especially in something like strikeouts that aren't like points, where half a point is so much more valuable. So that's why I took Blanco. In terms of Paul, kind of similar story, right? You have Paul. Let me kind of go to Paul here. Everywhere else in the market across, right? I'm looking at MGM. I'm looking at DraftKings. You know what? Actually, I might actually do this. Hold on. DraftKings. I'm not in a sports betting state, so I might not have access to it, but let me at least see if I can show you guys the example and an idea of what I'm talking about, so you guys don't think I'm just crazy. It's okay if you think I'm crazy, though. It happens. AB just responded back, and he said it was 50 to win 8K, actually. Dude, I am so happy for this guy. What? No way. That is sick. Okay. So, Paul, if you guys have DraftKings in your state, and if you look it up, his fantasy points right now, the market, the financial market in terms of sports betting, the sports betting market has it priced at 31.5, which means I'm getting 2 more fantasy points and I'm not paying extra for it, right? It's just being given to me. That's a 2-point edge. So I'm taking the under on that. Let's see what else. It's basically like the best way I can translate it is if if E-Trade hit you up and they said, hey, I know that the likelihood, it's, you know how you have implied volatility, right? If you're trading options, you have implied volatility of say 8%, and anything above 8%, if you have calls, you make money. It's like E-Trade coming to you and say, hey, instead of it going 8% and you making money, if you take the over, I'll give it to you at 6%, and you have that 2% edge. And same thing with kind of O'Neill, right? Let's see what the market has with O'Neill here. His okay, there's not that big of an edge with him. It's kind of like a 54% chance of this hitting on the O'Neill trade or the O'Neill bet. I keep calling it a trade, but anyhow, that's kind of the advantage that we have when it comes to sports betting, and that's what I kind of look for. So we'll see. Look, chances are that this is going to go ahead and lose, right? I still need 3 things to come correct for me to win. Chances are I'm going to lose. However, if I even win, let's say, if I win one of these every 5 times, I break even, right? And I believe I can do that. I have shown that I can do that. So we'll see. This experiment that I did, by the way, is plus, I put in $1,000. And as you can see, I just put in $50. So I'm down $40 at the moment. And I kind of track my edges and everything here as well. So I actually have this crazy, crazy thing. Let me see here. I have like a whole spreadsheet, y'all, where I track this stuff. It's pretty fun. Let me show you guys if I can. I just want to make sure there's nothing crazy on here. All right, I'm going to share this crazy spreadsheet that I track my trades or track my bets on. But again, I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you to spam anything related to Underdog, anything about how you want the show so that I can, share it with the rep and say, hey, look, our viewers want this. So let's go ahead and kind of make it happen. Because who doesn't love just talking about sports betting during a lunch hour, right? We would do this during the lunch hour. We would do this before, maybe at 6 p.m. when the games are about to start. That way we have a little bit of something to look forward to. I still can't believe AB hit a solid $8,000 parlay. Dude, what a guy. What a guy. Oh, where am I? All right, so here's like a spreadsheet that I use, right? It is my, give me a sec. All right, so here's my spreadsheet. This is where I kind of track everything that I do, my projects. If I feel like, hey, I have an edge in the markets, whatever, it's what I'll do here. It's how I calculate my net worth. I'm not going to show you that. I also run like a survivor league during football season, so I'll do that. And you'll see this is kind of where I track, hey, here are the odds. Here's what the edge, I believe, actually last night. So I won, was it this one? Breonna Stewart won? Yes, I won this one last night. And that changes that value. I believe I lost this Lindor one because Kirby. Yep. So you can see I'm kind of 1 for 4, but I'm up $50. So you don't need to win all the time. You just need to win sometimes. But anyway, yeah, okay. So the gun range story. Sorry, and then I'll stop. Wait, let me actually take a quick screenshot here. Send this to myself, and I promise I will share the story. All right, so I go to the, and again, if anyone feels uncomfortable talking about my 2-minute experience at a gun range, I would ask that you can now exit out of the chat. Because after this story, I'm going to help, and I don't want anyone to be upset with me. So I go to the gun range, and I'm like, hey, it's after work. I just wanted to go and just kind of shoot around, if you will. And I walk in, and I'm very honest with the person. I tell them, hey, I haven't been at a gun range for about maybe 6 to 7 years. So I would like for someone to, if they want to kind of show me the way of doing things properly and in a safe manner, I'd love for, I'll pay for that, whatever the case is. They're like, oh, we don't have an instructor on site, but can you handle it yourself? And I'm like, well, I'm not an idiot. So yeah, I believe I can. And then they go ahead and tell me to utilize a gun, like a practice gun, just to make sure I wasn't a lunatic. And so I'm imagining, right, and the dude's in front of the counter, I'm in behind the counter. And when he tells me to show him that I'm not crazy, I'm imagining I'm at the gun range where in front of me is the target, there are barriers, and there's nothing else. So when I go to load the weapon, I had the gun kind of pointed in his direction, just in general, because again, I'm imagining that I'm at a gun range, that in front of me is nothing, not a human being. It's just a straight target. That wasn't the case. And then he's like, yeah, see, you're pointing it at me. And I was like, I was simulating where I would be in the range. He's like, yeah, no, sorry, we can't let you in. And I'm like, what? And so, yeah, in 60 seconds, I was looked at as a threat. Rightfully so, right? It's the number one rule that you don't do. But again, I was imagining that I was in the range and practicing by those laws and rules. No, stop it. That's not what happened. So yeah, fun times. But anyway, you guys are awesome. I appreciate, any opportunity I get here to trade with y'all, to sports bet with y'all, to talk about these random things. If you guys have any questions, feedback, whatever the case may be for us in terms of what we do, feel free to let me know. And again, everything that I've shared here is from me as a person, does not reflect the opinions and values of Benzinga. I don't want anyone to get me in trouble, please. This is a safe space, I hope. But if you are offended, if you do want to provide me feedback, you're welcome to right here. I've gotten a couple of feedbacks throughout my 3 years of being on camera with y'all, and I take them all very seriously. Cool. All right. Appreciate y'all. I will see you next time. You guys have a great day. Happy trading. Stay safe. Be kind to one another. And hope you brighten up someone's day, including your own. Treat yourself right.